Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the podcast on Saturday evening with myself and Jay in the control room.
Yo!
What's going
What's going on,
tonight?
guys?
Yeah, hey, man, I hope you guys are doing well. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you guys, answering your questions in the Super Chats. We already have a couple questions. We're going to get to those in a minute, but go ahead and fill them up tonight, guys. I'm always about answering your guys' questions. I did want to start out by telling you some just developments on 3.0 that's now actually going to be turning into more like 3.0 or 4.0.
Yeah, which
Right?
is honestly, I mean, so sick. I can't
Yeah.
wait for you guys to hear this.
So again, really quick, I'm going to run this down, and we'll do a vlog on this at some point and so on like that. But so we finally have had some engineers come out. We've had some people come out, and originally 3.0 was going to be. Oh, well, you lost everything here.
No, we're good. We're good.
We went black.
We're dark.
We're dark.
Zero dark 30.
Oh my God!
Yeah, no, it was
happened.
the one wire got knocked, but it's all
That's
good.
all right. All right, you're fired. But get out of here.
I'm on my way.
You'll never work in this town again.
It's a small town. Utica's very small, so it's all good. We'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be okay. So anyways, originally 3.0 was going to be like digging the basement deeper because, like the basement is much like this basement that we're in right now. It's really only 7 foot tall. I figured, if I'm going to put a lot of money into doing, aquatics and all this stuff, we need at least 9-10 foot space.
Yeah, we need Brother Clint down here.
Yeah, exactly. Brother Clint would be happy, right? So anyways, we did have a guy out, an engineer out, and a cement guy out. And to be totally honest with you, it was doable. It was actually, the budget came in almost exactly where I thought it would be, which is shocking because I don't know even where I came up with this number for the budget. I was just like, yeah, I hope it only costs about $60,000 to break out the floor. And it basically came in at about $60,000.
Which is crazy because it was a crapshoot.
Yeah, it could have been $600,000. I had no idea. But so that's doable. Now, that's 60 grand. That's 60, 70 grand just to break the floor out and dig it down and pour a new floor. That has nothing to do with the stairway, the elevator, the
Universal rocks, the cages, enclosures.
I mean, it's a lot, But anyway, so that came in. So I also had another engineer out that talked to me about this, and he talked about going up as well. And ironically enough, someone reached out for me that did listen to the podcast, but also watched the vlog, and he was an engineer from the UK. And he did tell me, he said, number one rule when I went to engineering school is never dig into a foundation.
Go up.
He said, go up, don't go down. So I
Probably smart.
I did actually really think about that email that the guy sent me as well. Like, okay, this is a natural engineer. Now, granted, things are different in the UK. They can, they can't even say potato chip, I mean, they're crisps, for God's sake. Crisp. I mean, come on, how much can you trust them?
You can't trust a biscuit eater.
Yeah, I can't try, exactly. Come on, it's a cookie. It's not
a cookie,
biscuit.
baby.
It's got a nice sponge on that cake,
Yeah.
But anyways, point is, sorry to degrade my UK following.
We love you. You know that.
We do love my
I say
UK
bruv,
following.
fam, and in it all day, so
Yeah,
we love you.
I really do love the UK. But anyways, so we talked about that. So I really think that we've come to we haven't come to any decision yet, but
No.
But we are definitely leaning in the going up a second floor,
Which is crazy.
thing, which would really, we would still go over into BHB, but not into the basement. So we would add another third of the Reptarium that way laterally, and then literally double that, including that third on the whole top floor. So we'd basically be taking the footprint that we have now for the Reptarium, and we'd be 2.5 timesing that footprint.
Yeah, like 2/3 extra, right?
Yeah,
Almost,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It'd be quite a bit more. So
That's crazy.
So I think, and we have some really cool ideas for like architecturally. I want to have the top be like an atrium that's all glass, so that the ceiling would be an atrium glass. So anyways, that's enough of that. I mean, the point is that we're going to need your super chats.
We're going to need your help today, baby.
Super chats, because this is this is the thing, guys. Listen, we've done well in life in a lot of ways, but I'm not rich. I mean, I've got a lot of assets and but I'm going to spend almost everything I have to do
every
this.
dollar.
I'm at the end, I'm going to be collecting cans out front, for 10
Please,
cents.
y'all, please, Perdita needs a rabbit.
Yeah,
please.
please come in. And,
of course.
But I think that, anyone that knows me knows that I would rather have the dream come to fruition than have a bunch of money in the bank.
Well, yeah, you don't really spend money on anything.
Yeah,
like on a day-to-day, what? Maybe going out to like grabbing food. That's it, right? So
very little.
Rather than that money sitting around, it's probably smart to just live your dreams, baby.
Yeah, it really is. But let's hit a couple super chats. Like I said, if you guys have questions, hit me up in the super chats. We will continue on this conversation as well. But I know that there was a couple pretty good questions before we even started. By the way, we had a couple great super chats.
They're the best.
Let's jump in.
So Lydia says, "Love watching the vlogs every day. You think the Reptarium would be as successful if you didn't have a YouTube channel?"
You know, it's a great question. When Jay told me this before we came on, it's such an interesting thing because when I started the Reptarium, I really believed that 80 to 90% of the people that came through the door would be people that watched me in some form on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, some social event. And I thought that that's the way it was. And I think maybe in the very beginning, I don't know what the percentage was, but it was definitely a higher percent than it is now by far of people that would come in because of the vlog / whatever. So it was a great way to jump up. What happened that was
unheard of.
I did not expect, unexpected.
Yeah.
Is that, and today was a perfect example. We opened up at 4:00. I was upstairs in my office doing a couple things. About 10 after, I called Lori real quick and said, "Hey, I'm going to pop over in a second, just finishing up a couple things." She's like, "No, there's no reason for you to pop over." I mean, she's like, "If you want to come over, fine, but you don't need to."
Isn't that crazy?
Literally, there was one, and I did pop over, by the way, and I worked. There was one person literally one, not a group, one
human,
one human in the Reptarium that knew who I was. Not one other person. So what's happened is it's like 99% families and local people that have just heard about this really interesting place that you can go and hold animals and have interactions and so on like that. And
family hotspot.
Yeah, it's a family hotspot. I'd say literally probably 85 to 90% of the groups that come in are kids and families. And that's something I didn't expect to happen. I really did think it was going to be the opposite. Now, I'll be totally honest with you. I'm overwhelmingly happy that it happened this way because, number one, it takes the pressure off of me feeling like I have to be here every minute of every day because I feel that obligation. Like, oh, my God. Like the one individual that came that I met today, she flew in from Washington.
State?
Washington State.
Whoa.
Flew in just to come to the Reptarium. So
that's crazy. I love that.
So that's important for me. And she's upstairs right now. I told her when we're done with this, I'm going to go hang out with her. And we always have a few people every weekend, that come from out of state, sometimes Washington, sometimes Texas. We got some friends of ours coming from St. Louis tomorrow. So we always have people that travel in, but it's...
you don't have to be here all night. You can be here for like an hour with that person, you know?
I mean, and so, I would have 100% thought that the Reptarium wouldn't have been successful if it wasn't for that. And listen, maybe that jump start that we needed was it. I don't know. But at some point, I would say at about the 4 to 5 month window of us being open is when it dramatically shifted from people that followed me to people that had no clue who I was.
Yeah.
And I love it this way. I think it's a much longer term potential
of success. Than
having people that just follow me online because you don't know what the future of
and not only that, but now
is.
like we talked about this before, but now like when those kids grow up, they're gonna take their kids here. Like, this is where I held my first steak. You got to come here, So
and that's one of the reasons why I think about building, this like really amazing place. I mean, I think right now it's still very magical, but I think of building something that's more extreme. And what we've talked about is the upstairs being almost all aquatic. And I know originally I was thinking the basement being aquatic because obviously it makes more sense to have foundation with aquatic, especially when you're talking about tens of thousands of gallons of water, maybe hundreds of thousands of gallons of water. But talking to the engineer, that's not anything to be concerned with. You can build, anything. You could just have to reinforce it to where it's
stable.
Yeah, stable to be able to do that. So I'm not too terribly concerned, to be honest with you, with with the foundation as far as that goes, if we do it right, which of course we will. But yeah, so then, the downstairs, the whole now 3 units, right now we're using 2 of the 3 units, would be all reptilian, 100% reptiles, with the exception of course, Drogo and otters.
Yeah. We'll get there.
We'll get there. But then upstairs we would have our alligators, obviously. All the alligators would be upstairs, but then the rest would be fish. All aquatics, which I'm pretty excited about.
I am too, man.
And I think it just opens it up to something even more for people. Like right now, people are starting to come to the Reptarium really just to see Drogo. If people would come to the Reptarium to maybe see otters and Drogo, and then there's going to be people that come just for the sea life part of it, the
aquarium,
the stingrays and all that type of stuff. So it just makes it more, like you said, a generational thing where it's like, hey, this is just something we do every year. Our school goes to the Reptarium aquarium every year.
And now Jay said earlier that there's no aquariums in this area. Is there true?
No, the closest aquarium that we have, Sea Life is our closest one, and it's about an hour away, 45 minutes to an hour away.
And that's pretty decent drive, too.
Yeah, and it's kind of out in the sticks. So it's away from the city, so we would still have... And I think people could go to Sea Life and come here and still be just equally as happy. Obviously, we would have more interactions, obviously, than Sea Life. But yeah, so that's good. So there's your answer about the Reptarium.
Love it. James Smith says, dang it, tried to be the first one, LOL. So back in the day, did people advertise their breeding business in the back of reptile mags or just word of mouth? And that's a good question because I don't know the answer to that either.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I think that it was a lot of word of mouth because you got to remember, I mean, now going back to my beginnings, which is like, Stone Ages.
Back in my day.
Before they had electricity.
Yeah.
They didn't have the
we used to telegraph. I got snakes from Africa.
Yeah, we didn't have them real printing presses back in the day. There really wasn't even a magazine, to be totally honest. There was something that was called the Vivarium magazine that was like twice a year maybe. And I don't even know if I'm sure people could advertise in it, but it wasn't really about that, really.
Yeah.
There was no Reptiles magazine, and then there was, of course, Reptiles Amphibian magazine came out, later on, and so on like that. So really, there wasn't an opportunity to advertise in magazines, to be totally honest with you. But I will say, there was something that was called, oh my gosh, it was called the newsletter, and it was the. Oh my gosh! I can't believe I can't remember this.
Oh my God.
It was like, oh, and I literally, this popped in my head as I was thinking about that. That's why I wasn't prepared for this. It was called like the Ohio something Reptiles newsletter.
Okay.
And it was literally a herp society, and that's where everyone advertised in.
Wow.
And I am talking about a 10-page. Like it would be
pieces of paper.
It would be blue. It would be pink one. It would be purple, and just literally black print on it. I mean, like no pictures, no anything. And it was it was the newsletter was called, and every month everyone would be so excited to get this newsletter. And then of course the next thing that happened is that as you developed, like physical addresses, for people, like you'd be on the phone networking and can I get your address? Stuff like that. And you would send price lists out every year. And of course, BHB was like the first company that ever did full colored price lists.
Yeah.
Like no one did full colored price lists. It was all just like, again, like printed, like Xeroxed, price lists.
Yeah.
And we started doing full colored price lists with pictures of the animals and stuff like that. And so that's how you network back then. It was a lot of word of mouth.
That's so crazy, man.
The newsletter, which I wish Lori was.
Because I know she knows because she just talked about it the other day. You should text her.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually try to call Lori right now if she answers. Let's see if she answers.
Speaker, baby.
I'm gonna put it on speaker, see if she answers. She may not answer because she's
upstairs.
Reptarium,
man. So we'll see.
I'm gonna see if she answers.
You could always call the Reptarium too.
Hi, Lori. You're on speaker on the podcast. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Okay. Do you remember what was the name of that? Remember, it was like a pamphlet that was called like the newsletter or something like that way back in the day, way before everything. Do you remember what that was called?
Notes from Noah.
Notes from Noah. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you. Bye. It was called Notes from NOAA, and it was the Northern Ohio Association of Herpetologists.
No way.
Yep,
dude.
it's Notes from NOAA. Yeah, that was, God, I can't believe she remembers. She's so smart.
She's so smart. You got a
smart.
good one there. You got
Yeah,
a good
so
one
it's called
there.
Notes from NOAA. Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps thinking about it.
Damn,
man.
that's huge, man.
Gosh.
Did y'all used to read that by candlelight or by the fire? Y'all used to read that
You
shit.
could only read it until the light came down.
Until the light. Damn, dude. That is so impressive, though. I love that because
Yeah.
it gives all these people in the chat that are starting a reptile business, you have no excuse. There's
Yeah,
so much out there
yeah.
for you to market yourself. So
Can you
like,
believe that? Notes from NOAA.
Notes from NOAA.
I am going to, by the way, I know Lori has Notes from NOAA because she had talked about.
and the pricing list,
Yeah,
too.
and the price list, because we talked about the hallway leading
Lining
into
it,
the,
yeah.
like doing pictures of that. So I'll have to do that on the, remind me, let's do that on the vlog. I think it'd be really funny to have a segment on the vlog showing Notes from NOAA
Yeah,
and,
let's do it.
what that was about.
I love
wow.
that.
Wow, that's incredible. That's nostalgia there. I love that question came up.
Awesome, man. Love that. Solid Serpent says, my first super chat sometime ago, I asked about mole snakes. Now you have them. Just
Yes.
thank me by for the idea by putting me on the baby wait list. XOXO.
Hey, I tell you what, man, you're number one on the wait list, man.
There we
I tell you
go.
because I haven't got a wait list yet.
That
So
male
now,
is insane, dude.
They're fast becoming one of my favorite snakes, to be totally honest with you. Now, I will say Heidi told me that they're very hard to breed. I don't know why. I don't know anything about them. Listen, I don't know anything about mole snakes.
Yeah,
I literally don't. Other than the fact that they eat frozen thawed really well. They're super chill. Apparently, they aren't usually chill. So Warren gave me some really good animals. She did say they are different localities, though. She said that the colors aren't because of sexual dimorphism. It's because they're different areas.
Yeah, it would
different
make sense. I would
localities.
assume that the darker one's probably a more northern or something
Yeah,
like
who
colder.
knows? I'm not sure what it is, but nevertheless, she did say that. She said, I think that they're the same species, so they could obviously breed. What we get baby wise, I don't know, but I don't know anything else about them. I don't know if they need to be cooled down. I don't know if they have been cooled down. I've been putting them together. I'm hoping that we get babies. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
See what happens, but
I tell
you're
you
on the
if-
list, baby.
Yeah, you're number one.
That's awesome, bro. Love that. All right, so next up we have Jordan Dean. Just says, keep it up through $5. Appreciate you,
Thank you, Jordan. That $5 will go for that atrium.
man. Yeah, there you go. That's one pane of glass.
No,
No, it's not. It's one the rubber seal.
It's the rubber seal, but we need that rubber seal, so it's
Or it's
important.
gonna leak
So
in here.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
Tom said through $10. I'm assuming he missed his super chat, so I'll try to look for it. But
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Appreciate you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. We'll try to find you.
Chad says, jumping back on today, enjoyed the visit on Monday, and we can't wait to come back and see 3.0. I also emailed Beth about the Savu pythons.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Chad. We had a good time too. I appreciate you coming out and hanging.
He
out
was the
and
one
stuff.
from Georgia, right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. He went on Noah's last night, too. That's awesome.
Oh,
Good.
did he come on Noah's?
Yeah,
Cool,
he was hanging out
cool.
with us.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, and definitely Savus are hopefully going to be on the way. I mean, we got some eggs and stuff like that, so we'll see what happens.
Brandy says, love y'all.
Thank you, Brandy. We love you too.
Love you, man.
If I was Noah, I'd probably say some inappropriate things to you, Brandy.
Yeah,
but
so
I'm-
we'll
but I'm not
soundbite Noah so that we can plug it in next
Yeah,
time.
exactly. It'd be like, yeah.
yeah, we already know.
I wonder, I mean, like, where does that kid come from? You know what I mean?
Dude.
Like this, like it's so
YouTube
it's,
and video games.
It's so
100%.
opposite of me and Lori. You know what I mean? Like Lori and myself are so reserved when it comes to things.
Like,
And he
yeah,
just
dirty
says the
stuff, yeah.
craziest things. And I often think like, where did he get the like? He's
so
like,
true,
he's like,
though.
I mean, he's a little bit like Lori's brother was.
And listen, and
but
that's
other than that, I don't know.
and that was like one of his like
Idols,
so like that's definitely it. He's carried on that torch,
Yeah, it's shocking how much he's like. I mean, people don't know. Unfortunately, Lori's brother passed away 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, he was a big influence on Noah's life, and he does act a lot like him.
Yeah, and I love
weirdly
that.
enough, it's interesting.
Jason says, me and my daughter Chloe from Springfield, Missouri, love watching your vlogs together.
Oh, thank you. Did it ever come out? Was The Simpsons from Springfield, Missouri, Springfield, Illinois, and there's another Springfield, right?
Like, where's the Simpsons
yeah, like
take place?
where is the Springfield Simpsons? Did they ever come out and say that?
Let me see. I'm gonna look right now.
I'm wondering if they ever did, or if it's just a fictitious Springfield that doesn't have to do with anything.
It just says it's a fictional American town of Springfield.
Yeah. Okay.
Unknown place and impossible to determine.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, there you go.
Well, there you go.
I think if I was in Springfield, Missouri, I would claim it as my own.
Yeah, why don't we just claim it?
Although, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Misery is good, though.
Chloe Dredd says, hey, Brian and Jay, first time making it to the live. Love you guys. Love you too, Chloe.
Well, Chloe, thank you for making it tonight. I hope that you'll enjoy it. I hope that will be insightful, and hopefully I can spread some knowledge of something that
beneficial.
that you will enjoy.
Jamie says, you're proof that hard work pays off.
You know, thank you. And I think that, you know, it's interesting because I follow a lot of people that are successful, you know, whether it's, you know, Gary Vee or Mr. Wonderful or I mean, the list goes on and on. Obviously, Elon Musk and you know, the former Steve Jobs. You know, and it's interesting. It's strange to me that more people don't get that most simple, you know, advice.
I know.
And like to a person, every single person that is successful will say, you just have to work hard.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that is the key to success.
No
Now,
matter what you're doing.
Yeah, like will you be successful if you work hard? Not always, but you probably will not be successful if you don't work hard. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's a very little chance. There's a slight chance that you can lucky and hit the lottery or you know, like, you know,
something get
like
injured in lawsuit.
Yeah, or you come up with some silly idea that turns into $1 billion, you know, idea. But those are very rare. I mean, there's not that many Jeff Bezos in the world, Steve Bezos is
yeah.
Steve Bezos in the world. You know, there's a whole lot of people that have worked their butts off to get successful, and that's one of the things that, you know. But at the same time, I remember Casey Neistat talking about this, and Casey, of course, is a YouTuber who I respect tremendously.
For sure.
And he called it, you know, work porn.
Yeah.
He said, you know, be careful of the work porn because so many people were being, you know, successful about this, like work hard, you know, 7 days a week, Monday to Monday.
4 a.m.,
you know? Wake up at 4 a.m., work till 10 and, you know, at night
Never
or whatever.
live.
You know, never. And he talked about, you know, work porn being, you know, potentially a bad thing. And I don't disagree with that, you know, and I've talked a lot about this over the last several months, almost a year now that I've dealt with anxiety. It's obviously getting better and continuing to get better. But is the balance, you know, I work way too much and I still work way too much, I mean, it's not good, guys. Now, don't get me wrong. It's like, I love what I do, right? I mean, I wake up every morning and I can't wait to do the things that I do.
Of course.
I can't wait to come in and check what ball pythons are breeding or what ate or if there's going to be eggs. And, you know, I love filming and I love, you know, interacting with everyone. And Casey also talked about being addicted to the upload button on YouTube. I agree with that as well. But you know, you got to work hard to be successful, but at the same time, you know, you have to be willing to sacrifice to what level you're happy with, right? Like, I mean, if you're like me and I've been willing to sacrifice the majority of my personal life for the last 30 years to get to where I am, because where I am is a success, not based in finances.
No, but in that dream, right?
But yeah, based in the dream. Then it's okay. But if that's not you, that's okay too. You know what I mean? Not everyone is going to want to work their life away. And there's so many different levels of success, right? You know, so you can be broke as hell and be successful because you're happy, you're content, you have beautiful family and friends. But when it comes to business, you know, I've always said that the one thing that I'll do is work harder than my competition. Yeah. You know, and if I can outwork my competition, I always say I will do things that no one else will ever do. Right. You know, like no one in the reptile business is going to put out 1,660 something days of content in a row. You know, no one in the reptile business is going to do that and run several business and post 4 times a day on Instagram and post on TikTok and do 3 podcasts a week and do, you know, like I know that I'm on a level of work that no one's going to keep up with. And I hope that sets me apart. With that being said, there's a huge sacrifice. And to most people, that sacrifice isn't worth it. To me, it is.
And the best thing is a saying that I heard a long time ago that stuck with me was, do what 99% of people are not willing to do so you can do what 99% of people can't do.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it's all in a matter. But again, work hard, but work hard in your own way.
Yeah.
You know,
enjoy your life, whatever that means.
Enjoy your life, you know, live in the moment as much as you can too. Just so happens that my work is about the things I love.
Roberta says, much love, Brian and Jay.
Thank you,
Much love,
Roberta.
Jack says, picking up an adult pair of breadlize pythons
Nice.
in a couple weeks. Any tips on breeding and cage size?
They're actually pretty easy. You know,
love
I mean,
that,
I do like taller, more arboreal cages for all carpet pythons if you
agree.
can. They do like to climb, you know, but something, 4 to 6 foot by 3 foot, and maybe give it 3-4 feet high type of caging for some branches and some climbing, some basking and stuff like that. Now you got to remember, Brettles are one of the larger of the variegata.
They get big.
They can get 9-10 foot, unlike some of the other variegatas that stay 6-7 foot. So you do need a little bit bigger cage. And but we bred them for many years, and they're the exact same breeding as any other carpet python. Slight cooling down, increased amount of food, copulation, stuff like that. They're pretty simple to breed, to be totally honest with you. But you'll love them because Brettles are amazing.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
Which,
too.
by the way, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Punch up Brettle or Brettles carpet, whatever it is, albino, like albino, cross albino or something like that, and images, and then.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's it right there. That's actually Joe.
Wow, that's on fire.
That's Joe Ball from Australia. And you can punch like that one with the skinks.
This
down,
one?
Or actually one even above that. Look at
This one?
to the left. Yeah, right there. Look at that.
Oh,
man.
my God.
So that's a normal albino compared
I
to the
actually
albino
just seen one of
Brettles.
these the other day, and
Yeah.
I'm not like a super big albino fan, but that's a ripper albino right there.
So that's
man.
a Brettles albino that Joe
Ooh,
Ball
the hypo's
produced.
nice too, huh?
Yeah, the hypos are
Wow,
really nice as
that's
well.
real red.
Yeah.
Very pretty. Yeah, one of my favorite carpets.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
you'll love them. They're really cool animals, definitely.
Deb says, rich in love, but I don't pay the bills. Blessings. Love that.
That's it, man. That's all you got to care about. I mean, it's that's the thing. In the end, no matter if your only motivation in life is money, you're probably never going to really be happy. You know what I mean?
100, because you can never have enough.
You can never have enough money. You're never going to get to that money. People ask me that all the time. When I mean people, I mean my financial advisors. They'll ask me like, "What is your goal?" And I always tell them, when it comes to that, there is no goal. I mean, it's endless.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm not like, oh, once I hit $10 million in the bank, I'm okay. It's like that goal never change. You never hit where you want to be. I mean, it's never going to be that way. But at the same time, that doesn't motivate me. Money doesn't motivate me and get me out of bed in the morning, because that just isn't the way life is for me, and that's why it's funny. I saw a video today. There's this series that's called like Millionaire Reacts to Things.
Okay.
Right. And it's a pretty cool dude, I mean, it was like the first
Smart
one I
idea,
ever
too.
saw was like Millionaire Reacts to David Dobrik's, $25 million house. And it was him like reacting to David Dobrik and him basically saying, all right, well, if David bought a $25 million house, I'm assuming he's got to have at least, this much money in the bank.
Right,
He's gotta have
right.
this and blah, blah, blah. And, but one of them was Millionaire Reacts to what he thinks people are worth. And one side was like $100,000 and one side was like $10,000. And I was thinking, like, I'd love that guy to do me.
Oh my God, 'cause
You know
you'd be
what I
like
mean?
$30.
Like, this guy's
yeah.
this guy's a fucking vagrant. It's like
He's not even allowed on the show.
He may not even have a house, this guy right here.
Dude.
And obviously I'm relatively successful. But I
But it's so
definitely think
true.
that
I mean,
yeah.
it's such a funny like juxtaposition, and that's
Yeah.
what's great. I
Yeah.
love that shit.
Yeah, no, but that's the way I live. And that's the thing, is like, you'll never see me treating people like I'm better than them either, in that sense and so on like that. And so I actually had a tour today. They're back tonight as well. They came from New Jersey. Or no, I'm sorry, Baltimore, Maryland, not New Jersey.
Same
That
thing.
terrible town
terrible
in New Jersey.
hell.
No, they came from Baltimore, and she came in for a tour, and she had said that. She just said, like, she told me some nice things that I won't go into, but she just said, I don't understand how people say such bad things about you, you know? But I told her it doesn't really matter, because, people that
What are
meet
they
me,
doing?
Yeah. People that meet me know that that's not true.
Right.
And that's why, the crew that I work with all have respect for me, because you guys are the ones that know the real me. You
Yeah,
know
see
what I
you
mean?
every
Like,
day.
yeah. So it's like, but anyways, let's move on.
Yeah, sure. Roberta says, my ball has gone off of food for 4 weeks and is now going into a shed. I know it happens, but it still worries me. His weight is fine, not very active at the moment.
Yeah, it's totally normal. I mean, seriously, ball pythons do this all the time.
All day, baby.
And Jason, our friend from St. Louis that's coming tomorrow, he had a ball python that he bought from us that was eating great, doing well, and then it went off food for like 2 months. And he was feeding it frozen thawed, right? And it just wouldn't eat. And I said, I hate to tell you this, throw a live in there.
Yeah.
He's like, I really don't want to. And I said, but just do it just to see. Crushed it immediately.
Yeah.
Back on food, you know? So that's the other thing is if your ball python's off food and you don't feed live, you may have to throw a live in just one time
Just to
after
spark
it
that
sheds,
up.
just to get that thing sparked and getting it going, you know? So
Sometimes they need
ball
that prey
pythons-
drive, right?
Yeah,
You know?
ball pythons, they go on fast, but as long as they look healthy, never be concerned. I mean, I've had them go 14 months without food.
I have, dude, same.
Yeah, so it happens.
Tiffany says, congrats again on 3 mil.
Oh, yeah.
Wish giveaway was an Insta as I don't have one, but next time maybe
I'm sorry,
choose
Tiffany.
then release the names because, man, lots of new faces.
Yeah, and thank you, Tiffany, and I'm sorry that you don't have an Instagram. The reason I did the Instagram, which may have backfired on me a little bit, to be honest with you, was I thought it would be very difficult. Well, no, it didn't backfire me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't
What I
think
was
so.
going to say was that originally I was going to say I didn't think I'd get as many comments on Insta as I did on YouTube, but it turns out I got way more. I think there was like 2,000 comments
At
today
least,
at
yeah.
least. And I'm only picking 10 people. It's not 10 people.
I can't
I think it was
remember.
like 10 people at like $250
That's
a
a
care
lot.
package. So I got to pick 10 people out of 2,000. But really what it is on YouTube, it's very difficult to reach out to people, right? Like, you know, like,
The communication,
Yeah, the
social
commu- yeah,
media
yeah.
is not easy.
yeah, there's no real good messaging system on YouTube for me to reach out to you.
And even if there was, most people don't check YouTube like that. you
No,
know?
no, I don't even, I'll be totally honest with you, I don't even know how to check my YouTube messages. I used to years ago,
Yeah.
but I don't even know if
I don't know
I'm
how to
assuming
either.
I've got an inbox on YouTube somewhere, but it's been years. So anyway, so that's why Instagram's pretty easy because you pick the people, you just DM them and say, hey, you won, send me your address and that stuff. And that's why we did the Insta that way. But I'm sorry, Tiffany, you mean the world to me too.
Brandy says, driving to get my Disney half sleeve tattoo finished, and I love
Wow.
listening when I drive. Hope you all are having a great night.
That's a dope half sleeve.
That
man.
is a good one.
That's a good one, man. I can only imagine what that would be like. I've thought about that. You know, I'm obviously a guy that likes ink. You know, and obviously I decided to devote my skin to
My body.
to animals, but there are a lot of other things. I wouldn't mind doing like a horror film. You know,
Oh,
sleeve,
yeah,
you
you
know,
would
something
love
like that.
that.
If I had 5 arms.
Yeah, if I had 52 limbs, I'd be all over it.
Yeah, but I mean, Disney would be another one. I would be so into Disney sleeve. I think that's dope, man.
Yeah, even like a
just-
Marvel.
yeah,
I can see you with a Marvel
yeah,
one. dude,
Marvel
like,
would be really cool. So, by the way, Marvel, there was the new Falcon in the Winter.
Fuck 'em in the winter.
Yeah, Falcon in the Winter Soldier started yesterday on Disney Plus.
Wow, that's cool.
Banger,
Did you? So
banger, man.
I just heard. Did
Yeah.
you see? I think it might be Avenger. Dude, don't shoot me. I don't know this movie at all, but it's a director's cut that I heard was like really, really, really good.
That was that's DC's.
Something or other.
No, it's come on, man. I know this. I literally was. It's D. Snyder or not D. Snyder. Tom Snyder. Some Snyder, anyways, is the director, and he did the it's a DC movie that was out. I can't remember. God, my God, I can't believe Justice League.
Justice League. That's it.
Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Justice League, and basically what it was, he was supposed to be the original director on the film, and he had some family issues that had to pull out, and I guess he was so unhappy with the way it turned out. They allowed him to come in, and it was like a 2.5 hour movie in the theater. I saw it. It was okay.
Yeah.
Not great. I mean, difference between Marvel and DC is pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
Marvel's been pretty wonderful. DC has laid a lot of eggs. But apparently he came and did a 4-hour cut of that movie without shooting any additional scenes. And from what the reviews have been wild.
Yeah, I
And
heard it was
came
wonderful.
It came out yesterday. I was so last night, Lori and myself, it was about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, we could do one of two things. We can watch this hour-long, Disney Plus, Falcon
yeah,
and the
let's
Winter
see
Soldier,
let me guess what you picked.
or we could do this 4-hour Justice League. And she was like,
0% chance I'm doing that.
I'm not staying up till midnight to watch that. That's what she said. So we watched the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was great, by the way. I really enjoyed it. Loved WandaVision as well. WandaVision started super, super slow and ended really, really well. This one started super fast.
Hell yeah, that Ozark vibe.
So yeah, we'll see what the rest of the series has, but it looks like it's going to be a banger, and I can't wait to see Justice League.
Living J Light says, "Hey Brian and Jay, thanks for trying to feed breadloaf on the vlog. Is that behavior typical for doomerals? The research I've done tells me that they generally have a pretty aggressive feeding response. Love you guys."
Yeah, I mean, I think that the majority of the doomerals that I've kept in the past have had a pretty heavy food drive. Ironically enough, the 2 that we have now, neither one of them strike at food
At all. Yeah, it's great.
You literally just lay it in there and they go up and eat it, both of them. And they never remove, I mean, literally every week they eat every single week, but they do not, unfortunately they don't strike, which is okay for me. But yeah, I remember one time getting bit right in the chest by a big female Dumerose boa that was, just dangling food, and she was like chest high in the cage, and she came out whook, and just crushed me right in the chest. So yeah, they can be pretty touchy at times.
Ian says, "Hey Brian and Jay, much love to you all. Watch you guys every day. Also, my first super chat."
Well, thank you, man. Well, thank you for letting us break your cherry.
Yeah, thank you, man.
And we're gonna also we're talking about doing some memberships as well for those guys in the not only super chats but the normal chat. So there'll be some membership badges so that you guys can have your special badges.
Yeah, so you guys look all dope in the chat.
Look at me. I've been around a while.
Yeah, you can talk down to people like paupers.
Like that's what I usually prefer.
Okay, ball python.
I usually prefer people in the chat room to be denigrating.
Yeah, denigrating each other. Yeah.
How long you been watching?
You ain't even been here that long, have you, boy?
You shut your mouth.
Yeah. You kiss your mother with that mouth?
No, I don't want that to happen.
No, but we will have members badges. I'm actually going to start working on them, so
it'll be dope. So that'll be one more thing for you guys to do, and one more way for us to pay for that atrium room.
We'll get it one way or the other.
$1
We're struck cold.
$1 a time, my man.
Sabrina says, "Hey Brian and Jay, glad to see Baby Cush's training is going so good. How is Flapjack doing? Much love."
Well, I think Flapjack is going to take time. I think it's just
bigger,
an age. I think it's just an age thing, right? They typically calm down, much like iguanas, like rhino iguanas, and even green iguanas. As they green iguanas can
go either way,
but a lot of times a smaller animal is just more defensive, and then as they get bigger, so everything that I've ever seen from black throat monitors is once they get to a more decent size that has a little bit more confidence, that they turn into really wonderful animals, and I think that that's what's going to happen with Flapjack. But yeah, Baby Kush I couldn't be more happy with. We've only had him out twice, but this time we allowed him to walk around. He walked around for a good 20, 30 minutes.
It was one of my favorite things.
And he had the occasional defensiveness, but there was the one period that was really cool where I was just laying down and he kind of crawled towards me, kind of licked my face, and then just walked away, very, very calmly. Obviously, Jay was sitting down filming him, and he literally crawled right under Jay's legs.
Yeah, it was so cool, man.
So he's
tripped me out, man.
Yeah, so awesome. As we get rolling with Baby Kush, he's going to get better and better. And I think that literally I could have taken him out this time without gloves on.
Yeah.
He's just got pretty heavy claws, so I know I'm going to get ripped up. Eventually that's going to happen anyways. But we're at a point where I don't think that he's going to bite if I try to take him out. And that was the big thing in the beginning with the gloves. It's like you get bit by that animal, you're going to be messed
and I don't
up.
even, dude. So the vlog that you'll watch tomorrow morning, we fed Baby Kush those slug eggs, right?
Yeah, and you see those teeth.
Dude, I laugh so hard because I'm telling you, Brian, the teeth are like this big.
They're huge.
I mean, they're huge, dude.
Yeah, they're huge. They're you do not want to get bit by that animal.
Like the edge of a razor blade. It's so scary. Chloe came back and says, "Would you ever get a file snake for the Reptarium? They are pretty badass."
You may be onto something. Yeah, no, I'm working on. I was literally texting this morning with my buddy, who provided me with the mole snakes and the egg-eating snakes, and he has a shipment coming from South Africa soon. South Africa, and
there we go.
And yes, we're going to be getting some Cape files. So yes, I'm super.
I'm excited too.
I'm trying to get as many as I can, literally as many as I can get. I want to buy because I like them that much.
I think it's Atisha Couch.
Yes.
Am I right? That's what it says, right?
Sounds like it.
I would love to see more gecko, crested gecko, etc. Related videos, specifically genetics. I've been watching for a long time and love the vids.
Yeah, ironically enough, a friend of mine, Matt Baronic, from Sassaback, he may be in here tonight. He had a friend that has a bunch of cresteds that wants to get rid of them, and we have some cresteds, but we don't have a big group of cresteds at all. And so yeah, we might. I said I was interested. That's just the very beginning of the process. But I'd like to, because I guess his friend had a really nice group she bought. I got some really nice crested geckos, and she's been like to the point where she's like, I might start freezing the eggs because I don't want to produce these. What am I going to do with the babies?
Yeah.
You know, like I got too many geckos, and he's like, well, I think I got someone that might take a bunch of geckos.
So let's figure this out.
So hopefully I can get that. We'll see what happens.
V-Dog says, always glad to super chat and help with your vision of the future. Are there projects you've done that haven't been as successful?
Yeah, V-Dog, thank you so much, as always. Thank you.
We love you.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, yeah, I've failed so much, guys. You don't even understand.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think the thing that everyone has to understand is if you want to be successful, you've got to really be willing to fail, you know? Weirdly enough, this is really bizarre, and I don't know what the pathology behind this is, to be honest with you. Well, I mean, I know a little bit, but it's weird. Like when I fail, it doesn't bother me. Hardly.
We were talking
at all.
about this last night on Noah's podcast.
Yeah, but when I succeed, I get stressed. So that's really weird, right? You know, so like when something is going really well, I get anxious about it going well. Like let's say if a YouTube video goes viral, it's like I almost get anxious about it, you know, or when like, you know, like Instagram, when we first started, you know, in 2021, we really set a goal to crush Instagram this year, you know, and I've told the story that all of last year, I grew 5,000 followers on Instagram, all of last year. Since January this year, we've already grown almost 60,000 followers. Yeah. Just in 3 months, less than 3 months. And it's because we refocused on that. But when I first started growing and it went from being like, you know, hardly any following to 100 to 200 to 500, sometimes 1,000. One day we had 4,000 followers. It's like that's when I get stressed and my anxiety kind of picks up, which is really weird, right? You would think it'd be the opposite. When you fail, you'd think you'd be like, oh my God, I'm failing. Oh, am I going to lose my money? It's just, I don't have that. Like, I don't have the fear of failing because I know it's going to happen. You know, failing is part of success. You know, like, I mean, we could go back to Elon Musk and this, you know, the starship that keeps blowing up.
Right.
You know, every time that starship blows up, he probably isn't thinking that as a failure. He's probably thinking that is a way to learn how to succeed.
It's one step closer.
Yeah, one step closer to succeeding.
Yeah, this time it didn't land. This time it landed but blew up. Next time we won't let it blow up. And it's like, I agree 100%.
And it's, you know, again, I mean, what was it, Thomas Edison, right? He said, you know, what was the saying? Something like, I didn't say it, bro. No, it's like I didn't fail 1,000 times to build a light bulb. I figured 1,000 ways not to build a light bulb.
Yeah. I've heard that
like
one. Something like that.
Yeah, something on that lines. Like I didn't fail 1,000 times. I just learned 1,000 times how not to do something.
Exactly.
You know, and I think that's the way I look at failure.
And the good thing, you know, when you fail is that like it's almost, as weird as it sounds, is like almost exciting because you get to learn from that mistake and be like, all right, I'm going to do better this time. But like you said, when you succeed, it's like, what did I do right? Can I do that again? Am I ever going to do that again?
When you succeed, a lot of times you feel like, did I really deserve it?
Yeah.
And what's going to go wrong and what's going to take that success away? I remember Will Smith once said, you know, he wanted to fail forward.
Yeah.
You know, he said, I want to fail, but I want to fail forward. And so I think I keep that in mind with all of my projects and swinging for the fences is something that I've always done and I always will do and
do it big or don't do it.
Yeah, and sometimes that you know it's an interesting thing, right? Because you can have two different business philosophies. You can have the philosophy of like hit a lot of singles, right?
Yeah.
Singles turn into runs, turn into wins, you know, right? The kind of Moneyball mentality. Or you can have the swing for the fences every time, and
either strike out or
you're going to strike
out
a lot more, but you're going to hit some more home runs, right? You're not going to just dink and dink and dink and dink and dink. I've been a home run guy, you know. I've been an all or nothing guy, you know. For the most part, I mean, there's a couple little things I do that I know aren't going to be like huge successes, but are going to continue to build the coffers, you know. Put those ducats in the bank. So
them ducats.
Get those ducats.
Ariel says, hey guys, congrats on 3 mil and can't wait to visit one day.
Well, thank you so much. And 3 mil was a pretty, we talked about it obviously on the podcast on Wednesday, because we actually just literally hit 3 mil minutes before we went live on Wednesday. And, it's a special thing, right? You know, I mean, it's like when I started this journey on YouTube in 2008, you know, I could have never imagined to be a YouTuber and to have that is really my main profession, really, you know. it's crazy, you know, and it's wild to think that many people actually would follow you, and that, like I said, we're closing in on 1 billion views on all our channels. It's just
a weird number, man.
It's crazy, man. You know, but then again, you know, it's like the way I keep myself humbled on that, you know, is like I look at Brave Wilderness that has, 5 billion views and you know, 15 million subscribers, and I think, well, you know what, I'm not doing that good. You know what I mean? I'm doing good, but I'm not doing that good.
The ladder's infinite. You know, and it's wherever you're at the ladder, you'll look at it, the person above you, and be like, oh my God, you know, they're doing so much better, and the person below you is not. You know?
Yeah, and the thing is that staying on top is very difficult, right? I mean, when you're on top, it's you know, the
king
fall
of the hill, right?
The fall is always, and that's why they say, you know, right? You know, be careful how you're treating people as you climb, because when you fall back down, you're going to go past all those people again, you know, and
you don't want them to kick you down faster.
You want them to hold you up, you know. So it's important as you're climbing the mountain to always treat people with success. I mean, look at my friend David Dobrik right now is under unbelievable amount of pressure with all these sexual allegations from his vlog squad and his participation in it. And
I didn't even know that. Is that recent?
Yeah, it's been just over the last few weeks, and it's really blown up. And it's really a bummer because I know David very well. He's a really tremendously great human being, at least always has been to me, and always treated the people around me and the people that I've been with him with utmost respect. So, you know, I hope he weathers the storm. I think that he's in a Logan Paul moment, right? You know, Logan, exceeded, right? I remember texting Logan days after the Suicide Forest and saying, I believe you will come out on this bigger than you've ever been. You know, I know you're weathering a storm right now that's very difficult, but I think that this is an opportunity for you to become bigger than you could have ever imagined. And Logan did. You know, Logan did do that. Now it's up to David how he's going to do this. You know, I mean, he's either going to come out of it even a bigger name, or he's going to be, canceled. You know, and I hope, because he's a friend of mine, that he comes out on top.
I agree. Nuclear Venom says, any plans with what you're doing with Taz's enclosure?
Right now, Taz's enclosure is taken up by Taz's brother. Ironically enough,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it
helps.
It does, and it's you never replace an animal like Taz. You know what I mean, or any of the animals I've had in the past that I've lost. You know, you never replace them, but sometimes just a little bit of the pain. And I think for now, anyways, Taz's brother is in his enclosure, and it feels better than, say, just a
empty
generic,
enclosure.
either empty or a generic tegu that I bought from somebody else. For someone that actually, I mean, so let me tell the story real quick. A local guy bought a pair of Argentine blue tegus like 4 years ago, and he grew them up for 6 months or so, realized they were both males. They started to fight. It was Taz and his brother. And so he contacted me and said, hey, I'd like to donate Taz. This was before the Reptarium, you know, but I was like in the process of like, hey, I really want to do this Reptarium thing. So I was like, yes, I'd love to have a blue tegu. It would be really great. Plus it was really docile. And his brother had gotten a burn on his back, you know, with a scar. So he's like, I'm going to keep the one with the scar. You take Taz, the good one. And he named him Taz, by the way. That was,
oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
that was his name. I kept his name. And I was like, yeah, I'll continue to keep his name Taz. And so anyways, about 4 months ago, that same guy reached out to me and said, hey, I'm moving away to college. I can't take care of Taz's brother. Would you like him? And so I asked the crew, like I always do when people offer us animals. And Jay, the edutainer, said, yeah, I'd like to take him. I'd love him. So Jay's actually had Taz's brother for the last 4 months or so. So when Taz passed, after a week and a half or so afterwards, Jay brought Taz's brother in. Didn't even really ask. He just brought him in and just said, guess what? You know, we're going to put him in here for a little bit. So for now, that's what's going to happen. Whether he stays, that's up to Jay, the edutainer.
But we love having him.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool to see his brother, and he has a lot of the same personality.
He went
traits.
into
He even crawled. Yeah, he even crawled back in his cage like Taz used to do.
Made us almost cry, man.
Yeah, it was an emotional moment for sure.
Mac Lorenzo threw $5 just to be a lover, you know.
Mac, what's up, my man?
We love you, man.
I know we love you, man.
Mike the jeweler says, hey guys, hope everyone is doing well. On my way out the door to bowling,
Oh, wow. Okay.
More important than the podcast. We see where your priorities lie.
Yeah.
Wanted to show love. Hope everyone enjoys the podcast. Have a good night.
Thanks, Mike.
We love you, Mike.
I hope I hope you break your
Hit
ankle.
that 300.
I hope you break your ankle.
No, you
oh, wait, break a leg. Is that what
Yeah,
that say? Yeah. Did you see that one, I guess some PBA bowler retired just recently?
No, what?
I guess I don't know.
How did
anything,
you see that?
I don't know anything about bowling, right? Although I'm a pretty good bowler, ironically enough.
I suck.
Yeah, I'm not bad.
I'll have fun, but I suck.
But yeah, no one knew about him. Supposedly, there's this like bowler that was like, I don't even know. There's like, I guess there's this like really famous meme. Punch this up, punch the shit up. Like put, PBA bowler retires, and I guarantee it's gonna call. Yeah, it's gonna come up. Yeah, this Pete
Weber.
Yeah, this guy here, and apparently he's got like some
meme about him.
Yeah, like some meme that is like him, like he pulled a 300 game and he gave this like, I'm better than everybody. Or what does it say? Yeah, what does it say?
Who do you think you are? I am. Yeah, that's good.
And there's tons of them. You know what I mean?
Dude,
like
I gotta keep looking.
But I think that might have actually been what he said though. Is like, who do you think you are? I am, or something
I threw
like
34 balls, got 28 strikes, and still could not win the strike jackpot. That's crazy, man. Love it.
So, anyways, apparently this guy's a fiery dude that just retired from the PBA. So there you go.
There's your
Mike.
bowling fact of the week.
And join us.
Welcome to Brian Barczyk's bowling fact of the week.
Yeah, and if you hit the 2-7 split with if the lane's got a little more oil on the right hand side.
Yeah, throw it to the lane. I didn't know nothing, dude.
I just throw the ball down and hit.
I try to hit the middle.
Hit the darn balls. You never hit the middle.
No, you hit to the
off
left of the middle,
or to the right,
or to the right.
Depends on what you want to do.
I'm a lefty.
Yeah,
no, I'm not. But Justin Boyd says, "Hi Brian, how much would a pair of Pueblans, if you hatch any, cost me? Really want a pair this summer."
This is a good question. I don't know. I think that, I'm going to give you a very ballpark because I don't know what prices are anything. I don't have anything to do with selling stuff. I think they're good. They're $60 to $100, depending
right.
on color and vibrance. I think they're somewhere. They're not. I don't think they're more than 100. I don't think they're less than 60 a piece. So they're going to be in that price range. But we should, unless
we should have a ton.
Yeah,
right?
Unless things go terribly wrong, we will have Pueblans this year.
Mr. Simpleman's in the house.
Hey, what's up, Mr. Simpleman?
He says, hope you're all having a great night. Have you ever heard of the lizard fish? I thought it may fit in the Reptarium for 3.0.
Lizard fish. Let's look this up.
I'm
wondering what this is.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. That's bizarre.
Yeah,
shit.
we need 10 of those, dude, for sure.
So it's aquatic, though, right?
Yeah,
it's obviously aquatic.
Yeah.
It's marine. Interesting.
Ugh. That is brutal looking, dude.
That is wild. I like it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I bet your Rod over at Predatory Fins has to have gotten these in the past.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
He always gets a ton of cool stuff. So, thanks for the advice. A lot to think about. Lots to think about when we get to that point. But what I said earlier in the day is I said there will be a 3.0 and a 4.0. And what I mean by that is that the 3.0 will be the expansion into BHB, not downstairs, just upstairs. So it's going to be just like 2.0, but 3.0, the same space, just the opposite way, right? So we'll be adding that on. That is so let me just run down what my hopes are that happens. Is that I hope that we can, the first thing we would do if everything goes well and finances and all the other stuff work out is we would build the upstairs, build it. Right, just weather it in, heated, cooled, electric, but a blank building, blank. We would then move the offices of BHB up into the upstairs, where the offices will eventually go for permanent. And then we'll have BHB where it is now, the upstairs where Colubrid Room is, offices. We can demolish all that and square out. Then we can open up the wall, just like we've talked about doing before. We'll open that wall up and do 3.0. But the 3.0 will only be that right there. So who's calling me? Hot tub repair guy. It's my cold tub broke.
Cold tub broke.
Cold tub broke. Then the next step would be doing the entire upstairs aquatic. That is going to be an enormous cost. I mean, an enormous cost. And it's scary because anyone that knows me knows two things. One, I don't really like partners. Number two, I don't like debt.
No.
So I want to pay for this everything out of my pocket, and I don't want to take on debt, and I don't really want to take on a partner on the project. So that means that
You have to do it in phases almost,
yeah, it's
right?
almost going to have to be phases to the point, because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you figure, a giant, 10-foot long reef tank that's, 10 foot, like 8 foot tall type reef tank. I mean, that tank alone is probably going to be $50,000.
Right, just for the tank.
Just for one. And I've got to fill up a 7,500 square foot space of tanks. You can imagine how expensive it's going to be. It's going to be wild.
I don't even think I could.
But if and hopefully when this happens, I should say when, not if, when it happens, it's going to be, it will be the final dream of, like, this is what I want to do. And it's I can literally, Jay, you know me well.
Yeah.
I can literally see it in my head.
Dude, I know right now you could smell the air upstairs in the aquarium.
I can literally I've already walked through the entire aquarium and the entire place in my head. I've walked through
I just can't wait to get there and walk with you, because I went through the last build with you. And it's like you see it drawn on paper and we talk about it, but until you see everything with the rocks on the walls and all the enclosures in it, you'll never know exactly how crazy it looks unless you're in your head, Yeah,
and it's all up there, but yeah, so that's the idea, but yeah, so lots of fish ideas coming, and I've always loved fish. I worked in a fish store when I was a kid, but I'm not a fish expert at all. So I mean, we will be hiring an aquarist.
Yeah, we need somebody
that oversees the entire aquarium part of it. Yeah.
Our boy, Morph Mixology, Jason. He says, "Hey guys, just quick check in. My first female to lay for the season is on day 38. I'm not panicking yet.
No, don't panic.
But anxious.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the anxiety, but don't panic. Seriously, it's I've had them go 46, 47 days. Let me tell you this, Jason, that it's, again, that's not to say it can't happen. I have never had a ball python or any snake, not just a ball python, and I've produced tens of thousands of clutches of snakes. I've never had a snake bind without laying at least one egg. Mm-hmm. So they'll always lay one egg and then bind, or 2 eggs and bind, or 3 eggs and bind, whatever the case may be. I've never had one bind without laying an egg. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but you think with the tens of thousands of clutches of snakes that I produced that I've never had it happen, I hope that gives you a little bit of solace.
Oh, that was beautiful. Chad Strickland came back and says, so back in your day, how did y'all figure out breeding techniques for different species like green trees, white lips, and other hard-to-obtain species? And which one was the most rewarding to figure out and dial in?
It's a great. Well, geez, Chad, you sound like a lovely man.
Yeah, dude, that's my boy.
Yeah, it was trial and error is what it was. It really was. I remember talking to Ernie Wagner, who had produced the first Burmese pythons ever. And he produced, I think it was his 4th year of producing before he hatched one, because they had no idea how to incubate the eggs, And of course, they could have left it with the female, because Burmese pythons are although all pythons will coil and protect and maternally incubate, Burmese pythons are the only ones that thermoregulate.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So Burmese pythons twitch, muscle twitch. As a matter of fact, it's interesting because to build friction to they loosen their coils, tighten their coils. As a matter of fact, what's interesting about Burmese pythons, and again, we don't breed them here anymore, so you wouldn't have seen this, is that a day or two before they lay, they start twitching.
Get out.
So
really?
they actually start twitching before they lay.
Wow,
which is really, you always know when a berm's about ready to lay because she'll start to twitch.
How cool
which
is
is
that?
cool. Now, retics don't do that, ball pythons don't do that or anything, but they do maternally incubate. So Ernie could have just left the eggs with the female and probably produced, but he was trying to artificially incubate. And I think he said it took him 4 years before he finally dialed in the temperatures to hatch. So, and that's the way it was. As far as rewarding, I don't know. I think almost every time I produce a snake, it's been rewarding. Especially a new species. Every time I produce a new species, even for me, even if 1,000 other people produced it, if I produce a species that I've never produced, it's like a big feather in the cap, right? Like, oh my gosh, And I don't know how many species. I know we keep 247 species,
something like that. Yeah.
And since we've gotten more, we've gotten probably 20 more species. So we're probably up to 260, 270 species that we keep. As far as breeding, I don't know how many species I bred. I mean, I'm sure it's got to be
one
at
that's
least,
probably, I would
plus.
assume would probably be up there for you is the mangroves in some way.
Yeah, because mangroves were a tough thing for a lot of people to
Yeah, because
produce,
not only
and-
was that your first time, but also like one of the first times that
yeah,
they've
there's
been
not
produced.
a lot of people have captive bred them. You know, there's been import females that have been gravid a lot, and there have been people that bred them, but it's not a lot of people.
Right.
And we've been very consistent with production with mangroves for the last 4 or 5 years. So yeah, that was a good one, and now hopefully we can, we've got the caramel albino and the double head axanthics.
That's
and,
the important.
and we've got the Sienia and the multi
Gemicincta, and the
Gemicincta,
multifasciato.
Gemicincta. We've got a male multicincta.
Multicincta, yeah.
Hopefully get a female. So, but we have melanota as well as Drosophila. I'd like to now get Drosophila divergence. That's like my next one on my list to get. So, Boego are really cool.
Dane says, hey, big fan of the vlog. Also, I'm a student photographer at ISU. Love Jay's feed, photos, and I look up to your work. Oh, thanks, brother. Love you. And just keep crushing, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much. Seriously. And yeah, just someone sent me I'll have to show you this video, Jay, after the podcast. Someone sent me a video of like an artist that was like depicting like a snake, a serpent.
Yeah.
And kind of in a life cycle where it sheds its skin, and it was just a really beautifully shot piece it had nothing to do with reptile business.
Yeah.
It just had to do with like this life message of like a serpentine.
Wow, that's so cool.
And it was a really beautifully shot piece.
Yeah, you'll have to show me that. That sounds
Yeah, it was
fucking
actually,
awesome.
who sent it to me was Greg Whitstocks from the Pond
Guy, right?
Hit one of his camera people.
Oh, that's
sent it to me.
awesome.
And they said, I thought of you. Next time, Ed and Greg come up, she's like, I want to film some stuff. So,
Oh, hell yeah, that's
so I was
awesome.
Like, yeah, so they're really good people there.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
They just did another pond with Kenan, actually.
Another one?
Yeah, another one.
Hell yeah.
That's, I think, it's their third pond on his property.
Oh, that's dope. Rob says, hey, Brian, I got 3 meals into a super fireball that I asked you about a few snake talks ago. Beth was super helpful on the phone with tips, so thank her for me. Much love from Niagara, Ontario.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that we were able to help you. And
Yeah, we'll
Beth
smack
is
down
great.
beef
Yeah,
with Beth for her.
Yeah.
Get there. Don't talk to our customers.
Don't you talk to him.
Yeah, we love her.
No, it's I'm glad it worked out, and we're here to help you. And obviously, it wasn't our snake because you're in Canada and we don't ship to Canada. So we're always happy to help people that buy snakes from other people
Elsewhere,
as well,
yeah.
and need problem. And that's what we do, and we feel like every animal. All snake lives matter.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't matter where they come from. So I'm glad it's worked out.
Becky Gallant says, hey, guys, when the borders open between Canada and the U.S.,
Yes.
I am coming to meet you, and hopefully you will be available for a Brian tour.
I will be available for you, Becky. I can't wait till that
Yeah.
happens. You don't even understand the the desire I have to travel, to be able to be free again, see my friends around the world, and I truly hope that this will be over soon.
I can't wait till it's a memory.
Yeah, I mean, and the sad part is, I think it's going to be a memory for us here in America, probably in Canada, and
Long before
there'll be a lot of other countries that probably this is going to be a long road till they're over with, because when you look at the vaccination percentages, there are some countries that are way, way, way ahead, and then there's some countries that are not even started.
Yeah.
A lot of countries that haven't even started. And those countries are going to be, I hope that once we get ourselves together, that the U.S.
helps,
and the Canadians and the Australians and everyone, it can help the world, because this is a world pandemic, and we have to help countries that can't help themselves, don't have the economic means to do it. I mean, listen, it's not even possible for most African countries to have a vaccine that needs to be stored at minus 90 degrees.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot of we're going to need to step up, and as humanity, I hope we do.
It's important.
But first and foremost, I hope that Michigan gets their shit together.
Yeah, we are also needing help right now.
Yeah, Michigan's not doing so good right now.
But still, hopefully that all comes soon. I had a funny thought today, and I'm sure somebody else has had it, but
No.
I saw the masts in my car.
Yes.
right? Like that are, on my, usually some people
Yeah.
keep them on their, drive thing,
Sure,
whatever,
yeah.
shifter.
Yeah.
And I
right.
thought, like, imagine, you're going to have a jacket that's going to be in your closet.
Yeah.
And in 30 years, your grandkids or something are going to come up and be like, what's this mask for? And you're
Yeah.
like, well, when I was a kid, we
Yeah.
couldn't go out. It's just such a weird thing that is going to one day pop up unexpectedly in your memory,
Well, I've talked about it, like we see this here at the Reptarium, right? People come here, they take pictures, and one day they're going to look back on those pictures and they're going to be like, oh yeah, I remember when I went to Reptarium and that was during the mask
during the mask days.
And Lori has, Lori collects, the little buttons from Disney.
Yes.
And every year she creates a little lanyard, with them. And this year was like she has a Mickey mask that's in that case.
Oh, no way.
It says the year we wore masks at Disney.
Damn.
And I know that we will look back on that and be like, holy shit, that was crazy,
Yeah.
The question is just how long, and I miss my, I have Canadian family, that I haven't seen in over a year. And they're literally a half hour from my,
I know.
our place.
We can go places here that are further away.
Yeah, so I can't wait till the Canadian border opens up and I can see my family and friends. And there's a lot of Canadian reptile breeders I'd love to go visit.
For sure.
Hopefully by September the Canadian Reptile Breeders Expo happens in September. Hopefully that'll be happening again and we can go up and see it. But I don't know what's going to happen.
Jordan says, "Hey Brian, do you think you will ever breed the false water cobra for BHB?"
I hope so. I hope so. I only have one now. I have a female, so I got to get another one. But yeah, that's something I'd like to breed. They're very cool.
You only had one though, right? Eric had the other one.
Yeah,
right?
Eric had one. I had one. We've never had it. Yeah.
Rhonda says, "Brian and Jay, hello, Brian.
Hello.
It's so funny that you have any time to watch YouTube with so many things on your personal things to do list. Hugs."
Yeah. I sometimes wonder about time efficiency. Because we're so busy, and yet I'm still able to do things that, and I wouldn't say I casually watch YouTube that much. I would say when I watch YouTube, it's more business.
Yeah, like for on a mission.
Well, whether I'm trying to find information about something or if I'm looking at a video for inspiration or meditation. Obviously, I use YouTube for meditation. But I don't think I spend a tremendous amount of time just casually scrolling for entertainment's sake. I do occasionally, but I think that time effectiveness is important. Efficiency is very important. And we don't waste a lot of time in the day. There's not a lot of downtime, and there's not a lot of time where it's like I could. I'm pretty productive, for the most part.
No, for sure. And Lucas says, "Hi, I breed the Rankins and Aussie water dragons.
Nice.
Is that, I guess, from 2 years ago? Don't live in Australia, sadly. LOL. I live in upstate New York and am one of a handful of breeders in the country working with either species."
Yeah, I was going to say both of those species are really rare here in the country. So the fact that you'd breed them, listen, I'm sure you have an amazing waiting list if you do get any more about the water dragons than the Rankins. I love the Rankins. Don't get me wrong. I mean Henry Larson are super cool. But they're bearded dragon, So I don't know that, for my, for the Reptarium audience, explaining, this is a smaller bearded dragon that doesn't have quite as big of a broad as head and this and that. They probably don't get it. You know what I mean? Like just having a normal bearded dragon is probably just as cool. But I do love the Rankin Eye and I think they're really cool. But I really would love to get some Australian water dragons. I think that would be super dope. I mean, because when you go to Australia, if you go say to the Australia Zoo, they're literally like running around like a Knowles down in Florida.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
They're all over. They're all over the pass, and they're
I love
super,
that.
super, super cool animals. And
definitely one of the things I miss about Florida is just seeing lizards all day, and snakes and stuff. It's so
oh my
cool.
gosh, yeah, I do too. We gotta do some herping when the weather gets better.
Me and Noah have been talking about it. We're like, we're getting Brian, we're going herping. Even if it's
herping.
like, who cares where? Like, I mean, I'm sure you could find garter snakes at Stony Creek. You know what I mean?
I remember
like,
a couple years ago. Yeah, we were at Stony Creek, ironically enough, and we were walking Zeus and Phoebe, and it was myself and Lori, and and there was a big old garter snake right on the trail. And I just remember, it's like, oh my God, there's a Butler's garter snake.
Dude, we got to go because
You know?
we go all the time. I love Stony. It's such a pretty park.
It's just a great place right down the street. And, you know.
Oh, it's so easy. So nice.
right.
You can even just drive it around. Like sometimes I'll just like me, Maria, and Loki will just go drive around for an hour and just go see what it looks like, you know?
Yeah, no, it's really cool. So we'll get out there. I mean, I know there's garter snakes out there for sure. I don't know what else is out there.
Get some Massasauga rattlers.
I don't know if Massasaugas
Where
will be out
Where
there
would
or
they
not.
be?
Well, definitely in Kensington.
Let's go.
You can find them there.
And that's only 45 minutes from here, right?
Yeah, it's not that bad. And then Harson's Island, I believe, has a colony of them as well, but that's a little bit harder to do.
That would be fun.
So, but yeah, I know in Kensington, I've caught Massasaugas in Kensington before.
Sweet. Kyle says, have you guys checked out Brian Boa's YouTube page? If so, what do you think? If not, definitely check it out. It's great. I have not seen it.
I don't even know who Brian Boas is.
No, I haven't seen it or heard of it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I don't know who that is, but yeah, so I have not seen it, no.
Lucas says, planning on visiting to see you guys this summer. Can't wait. Been watching religiously since the start of Snake Bites.
Well, thank you so much. That's a long time. Someone actually just posted today. I regrammed it in my story of old Snake Bites, because I posted about the 3 million today, obviously, and they posted, and it was like me, and ironically enough, I just brought back the science outfit.
Oh my God, no way, really?
But it was me like in the back area of the Reptarium, or at the time the BHB. And it was just a funny clip that I just think like, oh my God, life is so different now.
Is it crazy?
I mean, it was like, 11 years ago, and the shit we used to do was so funny.
Dude,
so
I love
up.
it. Yeah.
But yeah, we had a lot of fun back then, but it's obviously very different.
Different climate.
Yeah, it's just a different world. If we did the things we did now back then, we would be destroyed. We would, I mean, we think we'd hate now. I mean,
you'd get crushed.
Yeah.
Queen Lexa says, hey, Brian, I enjoy watching your vlog. Been following for almost a year, but how can you get out of a habit of being scared holding reptiles?
Well, I think it's exposure therapy is what
Yep.
it is. So, watching is really a great way to start that exposure therapy, when you're watching it on screen. The next step is to get in the same room with it. And if you're afraid of holding it, maybe you can first be around other people that are holding snakes. And then maybe the next step after you get, the exposure therapy of watching, now you're in the room seeing someone handle. The next step would be touching, petting, feeling, and then ultimately holding. But these are all steps that you have to take at your pace, right? So if you feel like that's just too much, like I can't do it,
stop.
Then just don't do it. Get to the point. The fact that you've been watching for a year is pretty amazing because you've really, that exposure therapy has been amazing. The amount of animals you've been exposed to from watching. Now you just got to get in a room with them and go from there. So you'll do it. You'll do it.
Yeah, I always, for my first time, like holding a spider, because I was a little afraid of spiders, I went to the pet store and I said, hey, can I hold this tarantula? And the lady said, if you want to get it out, you could do whatever you want. And I did and got over my fear because I was always telling people, like, don't be afraid of snakes, so.
Yeah, and that's why I got over the fear of spiders, too, is because I couldn't tell people to get over their fear of snakes, and then I'm afraid of spiders.
Yeah,
So
it is a little hypocritical, right?
So yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'm just scrolling through because
no problem.
Got too many. We could
You
just
guys are
maybe we could take a nap or something.
Yeah, we're just gonna take a
nice quick snooze.
And this part of the podcast is brought to you by Buy Energy Drink, antioxidant cocoa fusion.
All right, you ready?
Molokai coconut.
Molokai coconut.
Molokai. You can go use coupon code Brian B and get 10 cents off your dollar.
Brandy says it's Disney animals. That was the Disney tattoo. She's actually getting Disney animals. So
that's
cool.
even cooler, man.
That's like badass.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's super cool. No, it's just, it's the whole idea of Disney. Anything is cool. I really love that company a lot. I really do. I'm sure they've had plenty of missteps in their life, but I think what I like about Disney, quite honestly, is I love Walt Disney's vision. Right? He took this. The thing that was interesting, if you read about Walt Disney, this guy was like married with a couple kids doing nothing till he was like 40 years old.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like he was like literally like a normal person. And then all of a sudden he had this crazy dream to build this
and he was
world.
In the right spot and it worked,
And he built an empire. I can't imagine what, obviously Disney today is different than Disney in the, say, 80s or 90s, prior to the internet and prior to, all the studios they bought and all the things they've acquired over the last, several years. I'm not necessarily sure that was his vision, right? I think that his vision was to make much like, and that's why I like him so much, is that I look at my vision similarly, where I want to create a place that's magical, that people can come and do things that they can't do anywhere else on the planet. And that's what he wanted. Now it's become a business. Now it's about acquiring and bottom line and stockholders and dividends and, you name it, that's just fine. And, it's multi-billion-dollar business, and that's how it's got to run. But I think that Walt Disney himself wasn't interested in that as much as he was just interested in making Disneyland and then ultimately Disney World, which was probably his bigger dream than anything, right? Because he went to a place that was swampland and turned it into such a magical place that hundreds of millions of people over the last 50 years, which, by the way, 50-year anniversary this year.
100%.
Yeah, in July, it's the 50-year anniversary, so pretty amazing.
V-Dog says, if Ivy were to have babies, what would that look like? Would she double in size, and would you leave the babies in with her?
So she will definitely increase her size when she's gravid, but she's not going to double. She'll get thicker for sure, get pretty full. And then, they're live young, so we would take them out as soon as we found them.
Yeah, because they would be crawling all over the place.
Yeah, and it just wouldn't be good for the babies to be in the cages. So she'd probably have anywhere from like 20 to 25 babies. They're pretty big babies, and they would be all over the enclosure, and that would be one hell of a video, going on a baby anaconda hunt, and that enclosure is going to be really fun, and it's going to be really exciting. And that's probably the thing that I'd like to breed her for more than anything is that experience. I bred yellow anacondas for a number of years, never bred green anacondas, and to have Aries and Ivies, which are so special to me anyways, would be pretty awesome.
Creme de la Clutch says, what's up, guys?
What's going on?
Most of us are conditioned in life to love making money and not the process that takes us there.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to love your job. That's why you get paid to do it. It's the worst, or is the worst advice ever. Much love.
No, I agree with you 100%. They always talk about, it's not the destination, it's the journey. And I think that's the same thing. I always tell people that money is two things. Number one, it's a barometer to success, right? And it's a shame that that's a barometer to success, because I think that that's a very skewed barometer, right? People look at so you could say let's say a pro surfer, but not one of the top guys, a guy that's making $50,000 a year, barely paying his bills,
right?
But traveling around the world surfing, you could say that guy has success beyond anybody.
Yep.
Whereas society will look at him and go, well, yeah, but he has no money in the bank. He's got no savings, no retirement, but he's a wealth of success
and
experiences and journeys.
And in his career path he's at the top,
right.
He's not the best guy.
And that's just an example, because the reason I used him is because the top guys probably do make millions, through sponsorships and stuff like that, or at least hundreds of thousands, if maybe not millions. I don't know what the surf world is like.
Depending, I would assume. I'm like Kelly Slater. I'm sure made millions.
Yeah,
of dollars.
I'm sure some do, but my point is that so money, unfortunately, is a barometer to success in society, which again I'm not a fan of. And the only other thing that money does is it allows you freedom, right? Money is freedom. And what I mean by that is the freedom to do whatever you want to do. Yep. If you want to get on a plane and fly to Jamaica, post-COVID, you just
for
get on a plane. You do whatever you want to do, right? Yeah. Or whatever the case is. Beyond that, I could give a rat's ass about money at all, period. It doesn't motivate me. It doesn't do anything for me. Like you said, if you're not totally enthralled with the journey of what you're doing to try to make that money, then you shouldn't be doing it, because you never get, maybe it's just me, but I've never been able to understand someone that's a crotchety old fuck that is super rich, and ooh, I've made all this money in my life. It's
and I'm just sitting here rotting.
Yeah, okay, so what? What did that do for you? What? So what? Again, I know Jay's heard me say the saying. It says, a man spends his life creating wealth, and then spends his later years spending his wealth to contain his health.
Yep.
You know, and that to me is sad, you know, because we're all going to get old. We're all going to be, you know,
Paying Medicare with all your
whatever.
money. Yeah.
And
They drain your
money
ass.
didn't do anything for anybody. But if you spent that 40, 50 years that it took you to create that wealth, but you were enjoying every minute of it or most minutes of that or achieving things that you really wanted to achieve, the money is a byproduct. You know, it's a byproduct of success. And that's why I'm looking at the Reptarium expansion and saying that there's a good chance I'm going to spend, you know, most of my money, if not all of my money, on expanding, and then I'm going to be broke again or close to it. You know, I mean, I'll still have assets outside, but you know what I'm saying. It's like the liquidity side of my life will be gone, but I'll have achieved that dream of creating something that I really wanted to create. And that walk that I've talked about, walking through the new place, is worth it to me. You know, it's worth it for me to see zeros in my bank account, but be able to see my dream fulfilled.
100%.
Yeah.
Rhonda came back and says, it's convenient that all the new big movies are streaming. It's much easier for me to fit a movie in my schedule with no travel to the big screen.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that I hope that the big screen isn't gone forever.
I agree.
Because I think there's a very romantic thing about the movies, right? You know, it's the smell of popcorn, it's the walking into the theater, it's the sitting down, it's
going somewhere too. You know,
you know, it's interesting. I used to say this and people didn't understand it, and maybe people still don't understand it. But like to me, and I've never told you this, Jay, so you'll think I'm freaking out of my mind by saying this. But to me, if I'm watching a movie on, let's say, HBO, while it's airing, knowing that hundreds of other thousands of people are watching that movie at the same time with me, it feels like a better experience than me popping it on digital, you know, like demand or something like that. Yeah. And knowing that I'm the only one watching it at this particular time. You know?
I understand that.
And there's something that's cool about that. And so I miss the days, just so you know, like that is my guilty pleasure is movies. I still watch movies. It's still my guilty pleasure, but going to the theater was my favorite thing I did. And it was the only time. So I used to go probably when I wasn't traveling or wasn't super, super busy, at least once a week I would go to the theater. Mm-hmm. And that was like the only 2 hours or 2.5 hours of my entire week that I could completely mentally live in the moment and shut everything off. As soon as I sat down in that thing and I had my popcorn and I had my drink next to me, my slushie next to me, and that movie would, you know, pop on the screen, it was just all of a sudden like instant bliss, you know? Yeah. And that was something I will say, like when COVID hit,
it was one of the things.
That was one of the things I was the most upset about, was the fact that I couldn't go to the movies. Weirdly enough, since the movie theaters are back open, which has been a month and a half or
something like that,
I have not been. I haven't been to the movies. I haven't been to the movies since really probably December of 2019, because 2020 before COVID, we were just too busy building the Reptarium, and didn't have any time. And then, of course, it was shut down until just recently here in Michigan. But now it's different too, you know, because we were actually going to rent a theater, the whole theater. It's only like $100 or $200 or something like that. And but you had to wear masks while you're watching, and you were going to be in there your own theater. You're like only your crew, crew that we don't wear masks around each other every day. So like we're not.
We're all in our own bubble,
yeah. So but still, even that feels different. Like going in and being socially distanced. I'm not a real necessarily a guy that wants to be right on top of everybody.
But I want to be able to if I wanted to.
With the movies, that's part of the thing. Going into a sold, premiere weekend where every single seat is taken, and
it's almost like a concert.
Yeah, there's something pretty cool about it, and I miss it. And I hope that the new way of releasing digital movies. Don't get me wrong, I love HBO Max, and I love the fact that we're able to see these movies without going to the theater. That's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it's more convenient for me, no doubt about it. But I hope that.
It'll never fully go away because drive-ins are still around. You know what I mean? Even though that's something that people don't do as much. But
I hope it's not the same thing where there's 5 drive-ins in all of Michigan.
Yeah,
now there's 5 theaters. Whereas, pre-COVID, there was, 10 theaters, within 20 miles of my house.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So, and we had our little theater that we went to all the time. That was like our theater, you know,
Hell
it's like,
yeah.
it's our favorite theater, you know? So I hope it comes back.
Roberta says, you going to sell any babies from Nova when you get more? I would love one.
I hope so. I hope we will.
As long as we get a good banger
yeah,
year.
as long as we have a year like we did the year before.
They're back together now. I seen them courting today.
Yep.
Yeah, when we were talking to the lady that was kind of afraid of snakes that she came here.
Yeah.
I seen them in the corner, you know, bobbing heads and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think we'll get some. Yeah, and hopefully we'll sell some.
Tom says, hey, Brian and Jay, finally made my first live podcast.
Nice.
You have inspired me to pursue my degree in zoology. Congrats on 3 mil and keep up the amazing work.
Well, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it, and congrats on your mission to become a zoologist. Keep passionate, study hard, and make connections. That's the big thing about that world, right? It's not so much about the degree, it's about the connections you make, because the zoo world is a pretty small world, and it's really important.
Tight-knit.
Yeah, it's important to really know people to be able to get in.
Yeah, and I would say that's pretty similar with almost anything. So please always network. Let Roses Burn says, I'm guessing it's hours. It says coming off a 10-dog workday, but I'm guessing it was 10-hour workday.
Well, I think she actually, no, she grooms dogs.
Does she groom dogs?
Yeah, she grooms dogs.
Well,
yeah.
there you go. Maybe it was also 10 hours. Who knows?
Yeah, 10 hours of grooming 10 dogs.
Because that's a lot of dogs. Listening on my way home, best part of my Saturdays.
Well, thank you so much, Let Roses Burn. I hope the puppies, and yeah, because we talked to her. Remember,
Oh,
she was
right,
talking
about
lack
bites,
of
right?
muzzling and stuff
Yes,
like that. Yeah.
you're right.
Yep, so
10 dogs is a lot because Maria grooms dogs, and I know like that would be a lot of dogs.
That's
to
a
do.
lot of dogs. Depends on the dog too, though. Right? You know.
Yeah, you could have a small, nice, easy dog that's already been taken care of well, or somebody comes in with a St. Bernard that hasn't combed it in 6 years.
Yeah,
you know?
that'd be a good one.
Jonathan says, do you think you'll end up as PewDiePie at 50 mil?
Well, PewDiePie has 100 mil. Not to correct you, but
Who's counting?
Yeah, I mean 50 mil, 100 mil. I mean,
At that point,
it's rarefied air. You know, a lot of things have to happen that are not in my control. Well, none of it's in my control, but a lot of things have to happen to go to 10 mil. You know, because if you think about it, even if we, you know, it took us, about 18 months to add this last million. The first million took me just over a year. The second million took a little over a year, and then this one took a little longer. That pace, you know, it's going to take me 10 years to get to 10 mil, you know, or something.
Right.
That. But you never know when virility happens, right? You know, the right situation happens, you meet the right people, you change your content, you have a new iteration of what you're doing that works. I mean, you just never know what is going to happen. I'll take you, a perfect example is Brave Wilderness with Coyote Peterson. He was doing well, but not great. And then he started the Sting series, right? When he got bit by, originally got bit, I think, by an alligator snapping turtle or a common snapping turtle, then ultimately an alligator, and then he got stung by a bee. And next thing you knew, he had 15 million subscribers, right? If he didn't do that bite video that got 25 million views, he wouldn't be where he is today. So we don't know what that next video is that's going to make a 20 million view video. Or if we'll ever make a 20 million view video again, we don't know, you know, or a series of 20 mil videos. And there's a lot of questions that are impossible to answer because you just don't know. So, I mean, obviously, if you're asking me, do I want to be like Felix, PewDiePie, or Jimmy, Mr. Beast? Of course, you know. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and tell you I'm not.
Yeah.
I would love to be the largest animal guy on the platform. Can that happen? I don't know. I don't know. We'll keep working hard. We'll keep working hard. That's what we do, you know. And eventually, you know, maybe the formula will present itself. Maybe we'll get the right help. Maybe we'll do the right things. I don't know.
I agree. Joe says, hey guys, hope all is well. Brian, are you still planning on having enclosures made for sale on PHB? P.S. What's a good size, does that say abode for a baby black and white tegu? Maybe a good size enclosure. I don't know. But planning on getting one maybe this summer. Thank you.
Well, so a couple things. I am not going to I doubt that I'm going to be doing the enclosures like we talked about before. And there's a whole bunch of reasons for that I won't get into. Main part is that the juice isn't worth the squeeze. You know, there's very little profit margin in it, but a lot of work that goes into it. And I've got to, at this point in my life, I have to be
smart with what you spend your time doing.
Yes, time efficiency. That being said, I can't say much about it, but I'm involved in a company that's going to be launching here pretty soon that will have some enclosures available. Probably not going to work for a baby tegu. Well, baby tegu, but not a bigger tegu. Maybe eventually this line will have that, but they're pretty interesting, innovative cages. So there'll be more on that here shortly. I hope very shortly, actually. But you know, so a baby tegu can stay in something small, even like a 10-gallon aquarium or something like that. But it's going to grow out of it pretty quick, right? You know, a big tegu should get at least a 6 foot by 4 foot by 6 foot cage, something like that. So they do demand a lot of room and space. And then my only advice to you is get a Argentine. Do not get a Colombian. Colombians are much cheaper, but they typically are not very good animals. So get a Argentine black and white tegu.
Pat Greiser says, hi, Brian. Coming to the Reptarium is on my bucket list. Also, I'm hoping to visit the Blind Cat Rescue and Sanctuary. They have lost about kitties from January until now. Have you found out what caused Taz's death?
I'm not sure about that Blind Cat. I think I've heard about that place.
I was wondering, is it Blind Cat or is she talking about Big Cat Sanctuary from Tiger King?
I don't know. I've heard. I think there's actually a Blind Cat Rescue, though. To be totally honest with you, I think I've seen this on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Let's see what this says. Yeah, there it goes.
It's just only blind cats.
Yeah,
that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
That's pretty cool.
It's cool as hell, but I just never would have imagined that's a real thing.
I think that's awesome.
Is there a blind dog rescue too?
Probably. I don't know,
crazy.
But no, it's really cool. You know, so I think that's neat that you would. As far as Taz, no, we don't know, and I don't know if I'll ever know, to be totally honest with you. But
sucks regardless.
Yeah, sucks, and knowing may not help anyways. As long as I can, you know, I mean, the only way I'd knowing only helps if it can prevent the next one.
Yeah.
In this case, I don't know that it will, but let's hope we don't have to worry about it.
Stephanie says, good evening. Much love. What's Taz's brother's name?
What is Taz's brother? Tato. Thank you. I literally, so it's interesting, right? It's like I haven't spent much time with Tato, because it does remind me a lot of Taz.
Yeah, it's hard.
And I'm still hurting a little bit quite a bit on it, you know? And so I'll slowly get acquainted.
To be honest,
with
the only reason I know is because Jay will come walking in here and be like, "Yeah, so I'm gonna go do this with Tato," and I'm like, "Who the hell's Tato, bro?"
Yeah.
So I agree.
But it is a beautiful animal. I will say, although it does have a scar on its back, nothing too. I mean, it doesn't look terrible.
You wouldn't even know if he didn't tell you. To be honest,
it's honestly probably a prettier lizard than Taz.
Oh, it's stark black and white is incredible.
It's really a beautiful lizard, and I do have to kind of. As the pain kind of goes away and the freshness of losing an animal like that you love so much goes away, I'll probably spend a lot more time with Tato, and hopefully he'll be a part of the Reptarium moving forward. If not, I'll definitely do another tegu as well. I'll probably do another tegu as well, anyways, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Taylor says, hey guys, wanted to know if the Reptarium had any giant day geckos on display, looking to get some.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we have a Phelsuma grandis. We also work with Phelsuma standing eye as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
And so, but yeah, we do have grandis on display.
Pat came back and says the cat sanctuary lost about 7 kitties since January. Oh, that's sad.
I wonder why. I wonder what happened.
Yeah, that seems crazy.
7 kitties since. I mean, I'm assuming that some of the cats that are blind have other congenital issues.
Which would make sense, yeah.
Hopefully, it's not some kind of virus or disease that's going through. So I hope I don't know much about them, but I'm hoping, because I love all animals. I love cats as much as anything. So
I agree. Simple Man came back. Have you thought about how you would get new tanks or enclosures upstairs if you build up?
Yeah, it's a great question.
It's actually a good question, because I didn't think about that.
I've thought about it.
Where you got?
So I'm going to definitely have to have like shipping doors upstairs, and we'll have to crane them in.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be so sick.
Yeah, so yeah, I've already thought about it. The ceilings will probably be 10 foot high. At the atrium peak, it might be
15
foot high. But the just normal ceiling will be about 10 foot high, and I want to have a couple big shipping doors that obviously lock, because if you open them, you'll fall down to the ground. It's on the second floor. I don't know what the rules are on that, so I've got to find out what I can do.
Of course.
I know that I can do something to that extent. Maybe I will have to have a staircase underneath it or something like that. But then we'll literally have to have a crane come and crane them in, and then once it's inside, actually have some roller systems or something like that. So it may actually be easier to bring them in that way than pushing them by hand.
Oh, makes sense to me.
Yeah,
that sounds crazy.
I've thought about that.
Matt says, I have boas, and I can't decide what my next species of large constrictor should be. I'm torn between berm and retics. Any advice?
It's so tough because berms and retics are similar but different, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're going to get similar size. Retics get a little bit
All
bigger.
very impressive, pretty animals.
Yeah, but retics are going to be much more athletic. They're going to move around a lot more, be more active. Berms are going to be a little bit more lethargic and kind of more chill. So it really depends on that. And then it depends also on probably, I think if you do get retics, you want more of a climbing cage.
Yep.
Berms don't climb very much, so they don't need it as much. And then it just depends on color and budget. You know what I mean? There's a lot more retic possibilities than there are Burmese possibilities, but there's some amazing Burmese, so they're both pretty awesome.
Yeah, so we can't help you at all because they're both beautiful.
Yeah,
both,
get them both.
So we pretty much made the problem worse. That's good.
Get them both.
Yeah, I agree. Get them both. Chris says, "Hey Brian, what is Morph Market and can I trust it?"
So Morph Market is basically, it's a really good site, by the way.
I've used it too.
We use it. It's just basically an advertising for every breeder that has something for sale. So you're not buying anything from Morph Market, right? You're not buying a snake from Morph Market.
It's almost like Craigslist.
When BHB advertises on Morph Market, you are then buying from BHB. You're not buying from Morph Market. They have nothing to do with the sale. They have nothing to do. They're just a facilitator to advertise things for sale for breeders. And the thing that's nice about Morph Market is they do typically vet the people that are on it. So it's not like anyone, scammers and whatnot. Like if they do have a bad rating, they get booted out, right? So I like Morph Market. I think it's the best classified that has ever been in the reptile business, and we've had a great relationship with them since the beginning, and they treat us tremendously good, and we like them, and I think you're pretty safe because, like I said, they stand behind the people they support pretty heavily.
Creme de la Clutch came back says, what are your thoughts on vitamin D3 supplement or sunlight exposure for snakes, ball pythons in particular, to help with building follicles and not reabsorbing? I've never heard of that. That's crazy.
I mean, I've heard some stuff about this, but I think I would have to see some very serious data before I think that there's anything to that. I know that like Billy from Mutation Creation does some supplementation like that. I'm believing that's probably why he does it. We don't have UV light. We don't do any vitamin supplementation, and we're in the 90+ percentile rate of production. Ball pythons in West Africa that I've been are never in the sun. Never in the sun. They're always in the holes.
That's what I would think too.
So I don't think that UV I think UV can be beneficial to snakes. Okay. I think that there's been some studies on corn snakes in particular, mainly more diurnal snakes,
which would make sense.
And the benefits of UV light. I think that we're probably not giving snakes enough UV, to be totally honest with you. In particular, a couple of the studies I've read, ball pythons, as a matter of fact, the same study that I read about the corn snakes also studied in ball pythons and saw no benefit at all of UV light, none, zero. Yeah. And this was a scientific study, obviously. So I'm not going to say, listen, it's not going to hurt the snake to have UV. It's not going to hurt the snake to get vitamin D supplementation. Do I think it's helping? My personal opinion would be no. But that's just from my experience. And like I said, with us not having UV and being 92 to 95%
effective,
productive, does that mean I'd be 97% maybe if I did D? I don't know. Maybe. But I think that there's a lot more things to worry about when breeding ball pythons than that.
Scottish Rob says, sorry, can't watch live for now. Best to all of you guys. # end reptile prejudice. And we agree.
There you go. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, we agree 100%, brother.
Yeah, we're in dire straits right now. As a matter of fact, I was reading the U.S. ARC alert on the Lacey thing, and that's not just reptiles. I mean, this is going to affect like all animals. If it was able to be passed, it would shut a lot of animals down. Yep. It would really kill the pet trade. The good news about that is that there's a better chance it won't pass because it's more widely spread.
Now everyone's going to be.
If it was just the large constrictors like originally, the original Lacey Act that was the addition. Which basically what happened with that, if people, there's a whole thing, it's called the NOI, which is Notice of Inquiry, that ultimately turns into what they call a rule change. And the rule change is not voted on by the Senate or anything. It's a committee that does it in the Department of Justice or the Fish and Wildlife. And so ultimately, it's not like what's going on now with a proposed Senate bill from Marco Rubio. Much more damaging, but also harder to pass, right? With the rule change in the NOI, there was a handful of people that were making the decision. And yes, there was a public statement period where you could make public, statements or calls or whatever the case may be, but they didn't give a shit. They were going to pass it regardless. You know what I mean? They were. I was at the original NOI meeting, the Notice of Inquiry meeting. I was at that meeting with the biologist that was from what was it? Can't remember what the committee was, but anyways, I was at that meeting when they announced the NOI, and there was no doubt in our mind. It took 5 years from the NOI to the passing of the addition, the rule change to the Lacey, and there was no doubt at that meeting that was going through. Right, there was no doubt that was going through. There was no changing the course, no matter what we did. This is a little bit different because it's a proposed rule, not a rule change, but a proposed legislation to amend Lacey, right? Which means it will have to go through committee, it'll have to go through vote, it'll have to go to the Senate floor, have to go through the House floor, and then ultimately ratified into the amendment. Much harder to do.
Yeah, much more difficult.
But still very, very concerning.
Yeah, don't take your eyes off it.
We have a lot, and that's just one of many things that we have. I mean, there's never been a bigger onslaught. This last 4 months, I have never seen the amount of proposed legislation against not just reptiles, but all animals than we've seen. So, gosh, guys, you got to be on it, man. Support US ARC for reptile people and just be on it for everybody else.
Pat says, have you thought about the future and who would take over the Reptarium or BHB? It's a good one.
Well, I don't plan on dying anytime soon, Pat, so we're good.
We're good for next
Pat,
78 years. And you know what, dude? To be real, it's a big possibility that before we perish, that we could live forever. There's a very good possibility.
I think that, I'm thinking at least 150 is where I'm going. I've got at least another 100 years, Pat. Come on now.
Come on, baby girl.
Listen, in all seriousness, that's you can't. I mean, obviously, I've got my kids. I've got, Lori. I've got, there's a lot of people that are going to be able to carry the torch if, heaven forbid, something happens to me tragically. But I'm a pretty healthy guy. Doesn't mean I won't die tonight on the way home. But I think there's a pretty good chance I'll be around for a while. My genes are very, very strong, and hopefully I won't. I've got a lot
Levi's.
Yeah, exactly. I only wear the
He
best.
He doesn't get Lee's. Wranglers.
I got chaps on.
Yeah, baby.
But no, I think, I mean, I've got a lot to accomplish. I'm not going anywhere.
Timothy says, do Buegas go off feed? My 1 7-foot melanota has an 8 and 6 months, but still acts healthy. Temps are 80 to 85 during the day and 75 to 77 at night.
Yeah, I mean, you have everything that sounds pretty good. I mean, they can. Sure, we've had ours go off of food, not for that many months. But if it looks good, I wouldn't be too terribly concerned. I might try a frozen chick or something like that to get it enticed to eat. But, I always talk about, read your animal. If the animal is on a fast but looks perfectly healthy, then you're usually not in any dire straits. I haven't had that happen for a long period. I've had them go off food for a few weeks to a month, but I've never had them go months. But ours are all captive too, right? So I don't know if your melanota was a wild one, and that could be a completely different situation. Whereas ours are all captive, so we didn't have that, and we have I think we're up to like,
we got a lot.
I think we're up to like almost 30 animals in the melanota group,
which is awesome. They're one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I literally, if you get divergence, that's when I'll start bugging you for them because I need one of those bad boys.
Yeah, those are nice.
Dane came back and says, honestly, it's so sick that you get up close and personal with the animals, dude. I wish I could take photos like that. Dude, you can. I literally haven't been doing it that long. I promise. Just watch a lot of YouTube videos and go out and take photos every day.
Yeah.
That's all you need, baby.
Yeah. Get that Snoopy cam.
Get the Snoopy cam. Dude, I'm telling you, I started with a cell phone. And
Yep.
you could take great photos. I have 10 photos in my phone still that are cell phone photos that I could print out and sell.
Yeah.
You know, so don't ever
And
think
he's
you
going
can't.
to.
And I'm going to. So
Just
hit
send-
me up on jtopskin.com.
Yeah, hit him up on Venmo.
Yeah, Venmo, baby.
Venmo him some money. Get you those prints real quick.
Taylor says, I'm sure Lori wouldn't agree with me, but listening to Brian talk about anything is so relaxing to me. Brian, what is your favorite reptile memory?
Thank you so
Or
much.
mammary.
Your mammary.
What's your favorite reptile
Well,
memory?
when
that lizard teeth.
When Potterhead's when Potterhead's sister whipped out her boobie, that was my favorite memory.
Yeah, good shit, dude. Good shit.
Jerick, I hope she's in tonight. Is she in?
I think so. I've seen
She
her.
around?
Let me see. Where's this? Yeah, she's in here.
She's there. Jerica.
We missed your sister's teeth.
That's my favorite memory. No, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. Maybe I should do ASMR type of thing.
Yes.
So what my favorite memory is when I talk about reptiles. Favorite memory, gosh, I don't, that's a tough one. You just nailed me with that. You gotta give me some thoughts. I've had a lot of memories, I mean, I think that maybe again, this is just off the top of my head.
And
I mean, like I said, there's 1,000 of them, but I think that the first clutch of albino Burmese pythons I had, where the female's wrapped around that clutch eggs, 22 eggs, and I was so excited that she railed me in my finger, bit me in the finger, and for about a year I couldn't bend my finger right, because it like messed something up in my finger. But I remember that feeling when I was like 19 years old. And that's the first time that I really felt like, wow, I might have something here, because, albino Burms were still selling for like $1,200 a piece. And I had 22 eggs and they were in high demand. And that was a lot of money for a kid that age. And so I remember still to this day, I remember the feeling I had walking. I literally walked in with a flashlight in my mom's basement, and it was nighttime, and it was like maybe 6 a.m, something like 5 a.m, and I would go in there with a flashlight, and I see this pile of clutch eggs, and I remember the latch on the cage was like kind of old, like eye latch, like, like you'd have on a cupboard, and it's like I unlatch it and I open up and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm thinking like, are they all good? So I go in there and I'm playing with her to see, and they all look good, and she just rails my freaking, just crushes me, blood's all over the place, and I'm just smiling like ear to ear, and I couldn't wait to pull her off her eggs and get the eggs in the incubator, and that was a pretty good memory.
That sounded like a great one.
Yeah, it was good.
That was a good choice.
It was good, yeah. And I remembered it for a whole year because I couldn't bend my finger.
Tom Murphy says, I called and left a message 2 weeks ago with Beth. I am the one who chatted with you about snake loan versus selling your ball python collection. Were you not interested?
It's just too early, I mean,
now with like,
it's I don't know. So no matter, I kind of said this a bunch of times, and no matter what happens, it's going to be months before I make a decision, right? So I guess what I'm saying is that right now, today, it's just too early for that conversation. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm interested. I don't know if I'm not interested. I don't know.
We just don't even know what the future exactly
is.
I mean,
right now, that's step 7 and I'm on step 1.
Yeah.
So I've got a bunch of other steps. So hang, keep in touch, man. You never know if that would be something or not. So I'm not interested, but I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just can't even think that far down the road, because it's something that, again, if we end up building up,
It's not as
And
necessary.
we don't need to get rid of anything in the basement. We'll end up keeping everything, or we could keep everything if we decided to, unless we decide to downsize. So there's a lot of what ifs still up in the air.
Yeah, I agree. Max says, was stoked to see you got some egg eaters. Any plans to breed them in the future? Would love to grab one down the road. Just need to find some dang eggs first. Such a struggle.
Yeah. And I think that's the only thing that I'm not sure of. I've got to do more research on this, because obviously quail eggs, which we can get now right down the road from me.
Yeah.
So that's easy to feed them. Like, what do babies eat?
I asked you that question the first day we seen him, right? And I was like, what the heck would a baby want to eat? Like robin eggs? Like,
I don't know. And then so that's the thing that I have to find out is, like, if we breed them, what do babies eat, and can I keep them alive before I even think about breeding them? And so yeah.
I agree.
But I do love them. They're freaking cool.
They're
man.
actually one of my favorites here now. So cool.
Wild, man. They're cool animals.
Yeah, just wild looking, weird acting. So cool.
Yeah.
Austin through $5. I don't see a message. I looked,
Awesome.
but
Thanks,
I didn't
man.
see one. But
Appreciate
we love you, brother.
Man. Thanks, man.
Nuclear Venom says, with all your animals, who is the oldest?
I don't know
Is it
the
Bowser?
answer. Well, Bowser is definitely the oldest, but I haven't had him for that long since the beginning. I think Gramps is maybe my oldest snake that I've had since it was a baby. It's probably 22 years old, something like that. But I have a couple other animals that are in their 20s too.
Yep, the Woma python
some ball pythons. The
downstairs.
Woma python, is at least 20 years old. So we have a bunch of 20-year-old or close to 20, maybe early 20s. But Gramps, I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's at least 22, 23 years old. And for a colubrid, that's an old animal.
He still looks beautiful,
Yeah,
man.
he looks good. He's losing a little weight, but he's still eating a large rat a week. And that's an albino Chinese rat snake, by the way.
Yeah. He's a beautiful animal, man.
Beautiful snake.
Looks
really
like a little
cool.
rattlesnake in there,
it's just really cool. So, but yeah, we have, that's, most snakes don't live much past the 20s, I mean, mid 20s. Sometimes you'll get lucky and have one go into the 30s, but not very often. And you got to remember, up until, like, I think that the Reptarium animals will live longer than BHB animals.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that breeding does take away life.
100%.
Right? That there is a breeding stress that goes along with it. The animals at the Reptarium, they're not being bred, will probably live longer.
Yeah.
So I hope Lucy and Daisy and Sunrise
28,
I hope that they'll go
29,
30 plus years, but and then of course we have other animals, obviously Matilda, we have obviously Bella can live 40 plus years, on and on and on. So Elvis can live 30, 40 years. So I think that we'll have a lot a
lot of memories with them in the
we've got a
future.
long way to go with these animals, because most of the animals in the Reptarium are still pretty young.
Yeah, it's actually crazy to think about how, like, one day Perdita is going to be a pretty big snake, or Night Fury is going to be a pretty big snake. And it blows your mind when you think about that, because you're so in the now, you know?
It is going to be crazy,
Austin says, been watching you for years. I got my first ever snake from you years back, an albino garter snake.
Wow.
I wanted to know, are you going to have a lot more super lorries available this year? I want to get into the project.
I mean, I don't know about a lot more. We have several females that could produce this year that look good. They're growing follicles and are at the point where I feel they're probably going to have eggs. And then it's just a matter of luck. Like last year we had, I think there were 7 eggs, and we had 3 super lorry leopards.
Right.
That's crazy. That's great odds. I mean,
It's
it's 1 in 4 should be a super, and then 1 in 6 should be super lorry leopard, and we got 3, out of 7 eggs. So, so you never know. But yeah, I hope I have some, and I'll probably sell a couple this year.
Depends on what morphs we hit, right?
Yeah, it depends on what morph we hit. But I think this year is going to be pretty cool. Next year it's going to be way better, because we've got a lot of cool stuff that we produced this last year that will be up to breed next year.
I agree.
So next year is going to be some banging years of some combos that, like, people are going to be pretty freaked out about.
Yeah, I'm excited too, man. Sherry says,
Sherry, what's up, girl?
hey, Brian and Jay. Again, congrats on 3 million. Love the vlog today where you showed your reaction to 3 mil. How has the reaction been to the faster format? I like it. It's so upbeat. See you in the AM.
Well, good, Sherry. Thank you so much, and I'm glad that you noticed it. I know we talked about it a little bit. I think that the faster format makes more sense long term.
Yep.
I think we're still in that kind of stage where we're not sure really what it's going to play out to be. YouTube's a really weird thing, right? Me and Noah and I were talking about this afternoon after you left, Jay. And because Noah was, he's obviously, I love the fact that Noah really cares about my channel as much as his own channel.
I know, it's great.
And so we were talking about numbers, and it's a little bit of a weird time with YouTube for me. Is like, we had a pretty big dip recently, and then we started to climb again, and then we plateaued, which is weird because normally once you start climbing, you usually climb back to where you were, if not better. So this is the first time that happened, where we didn't like bounce back like I thought we would. But it's still way too early to really tell. But I personally like the faster format. I think it's a better thing. And I think that long term,
we'll have more positive growth.
Yeah, there's going to be more potential that, so I think what's going to happen is that when we have a video that breaks out, so this is how YouTube basically works, is that when you have a video that breaks out, then people will look at your catalog of past videos. And if you can keep them, like entertained and engaged, that's when you grow. And I think that there's a better chance for people to be engaged with the content that we're producing now that's a little bit more upbeat, more fast-paced, more cuts, more segments, more bits. I think there's a better chance to retain the people when we do go viral. And chances are pretty good one of our videos is going to go viral.
Always,
because it's going to happen. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since it's probably been 6 months since we've had a video get into the millions. But it's going to happen again. I mean, I would think. It's just a matter of when something crazy happens that we catch on tape. But so far I like it, and I think we're going to continue on and just continue to keep improving
Always.
it. Yeah.
Emily says, finally got to watch Noah's podcast from last night, and I loved it. The rap he did for me made my day, and my anxiety and depression have been horrible the past couple of days, and I needed a laugh. I love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Well,
I tell you, Emily, I hope that I'm glad that it helped, and I hope that you feel better. I know how shitty anxiety and depression can feel. I know it's so bad. So I'm here for you, and I really do believe in you, and I hope that you'll get better, because you can get better. Just work on it really hard, and I'm glad that you enjoyed Noah's rap. I enjoyed him too.
He crushed it last night.
Yeah,
too. We were doing good.
You guys are crazy, dude. You guys do some crazy shit.
I literally go home and write beats for him for the podcast for the next week, and it's fun. It keeps me entertained at home too. So
well, you guys it's great stuff. I told Noah, we were talking about it. I think he talked to you about it.
Yeah.
You guys have to do a music video.
Yeah, well, so we have a couple in mind. I don't want to spill the beans on anything because if someone takes the idea, it's going to piss me off so bad because we've been talking about it a couple months.
Yeah, don't say anything. But I'm just
you
saying
actually
that
brought it up today too. Something similar. You said we should do a video about blank.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
I think it's important because I think that has a potential to actually break out.
Yeah, and I think that not that I think Noah's going to be a rapper, but I think that Noah talked about it. It's really true. Like, he wants to do comedy,
right?
And he's starting to do stand-up now. As a matter of fact,
Wednesday.
Yeah, a week from. Oh wait, what day is today? Today's Saturday. Yeah, so this coming Wednesday, he's got his second stand-up routine going on. Just open mic. And which is great that they let him come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I was a little worried. Like, are they going to let him come back? And so that's great news that they liked him enough to where he's coming back to the same place. And I think he's going to start making friends, and I think he can do well. But I think it is true. If he's doing stand-up comedy, he's doing YouTube, he's doing rapping, he's doing. The more you do, the more chances that you're a more well-rounded person, and maybe the rapping community is going to follow him for this, and then maybe the YouTube community is going to follow him for that, and then the comedy.
You'd be surprised how many comedians have made rap songs.
Yeah,
you'd be surprised.
Yeah, well, I think it's all kind of the same, right? I mean, it's all it's all entertainment on different levels, and that's what we do.
Pat Greiser says, "Have you ever had the chance to meet Steve Irwin?"
No, unfortunately, I didn't meet Steve. I obviously know his family and his dad very well. They're very, his dad's very good friends with myself, and love and respect the family tremendously. Unfortunately, I think outside of Steve, I can't think of any other animal personalities on TV that I have. Well, with the exception of David Attenborough, of course.
Yeah.
I haven't met. I've met, Mark O'Shea and Austin Stevens and Jeff Corwin and the list goes on and on. Obviously, Coyote is friends. We're friends. Coyote. Wolf Patterson.
Dingo Jefferson.
Dingo Jefferson.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But I didn't meet Steve, and that's a bummer because I would have loved to meet him. He's definitely been a hero of mine for a long, long time.
Maria says, "Hey, Brian and Jay, for short, BJ. How is everyone doing?"
I see what she did there.
Oh yeah, I seen what she did there, bud.
What are you doing there? You silly! You're such a dirty girl, Maria.
Maria. She
Did
says,
you kiss your mama with that mouth?
she goes, "No, I kiss your mother with this mouth." Happy you hit 3 million mark. You deserve it. We need a full Lori takeover episode on the vlog, and for you guys to pull a prank on Noah and Jay, them professionals. Both of those are good ideas. So
I do like those ideas, yeah. And I think we've had Lori's taken over the vlog a couple times in the past, and she's always done really well. I think you guys are seeing that. She's pretty much in every vlog now, and she'll continue to be in every vlog.
Try to get everybody as much as possible.
Yeah, I think we want to try to continue to not have just me. I think you guys get sick of me, so let's we're trying to
give you a break from Brian for a little bit, all right?
A break from my mouth.
Martin says, just for love, and also, do you have any Enchi ghosts for sale?
I do not have any Enchi ghosts for sale, unfortunately. We're sold out of that project for the year, but we could potentially have some this. I think we've got a couple eggs coming. So if that group goes well, as a matter of fact, I think I have potential for like Ghost, Fire, Enchi, few different combinations in that world. So yeah.
Pat came back and says it's Blind Cat Rescue and Sanctuary for Blind, FIV and FELV plus cats.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's really awesome.
Like I said, I think that
it's like one of those things where you're like a whole sanctuary of only blind cats. You're like, I didn't think that would be a thing.
Yeah, well, I think that's like she said. I think that it's that FIV, FELV plus. Like there's like a mutation in cats that cause blindness.
Get out! I didn't know that.
That you don't have in dogs and stuff like that. That's why there's not like the blind dog sanctuary,
makes sense. I literally have never heard of that before, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So it's cool that there's a place like that, and hopefully they, don't have those losses.
That's right.
That's a bummer. That's too bad.
Let Roses Burn says yes. 10 dogs, 8 smaller, 2 mid-large, and 9-hour day. Just a typical Saturday, baby.
Good, man.
I knew it was gonna be close to 10 hours.
I hope you put a little color on those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
get some dyes in there.
Get some dyes,
like a little mohawk on those things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sometimes you gotta do the mohawk dog thing. Man,
parents might be shocked.
Yeah,
but you
bring in
be
a
like
white
Steve
dog.
Jobs, right? And you don't ask what people want. You give them what you think they want.
Yeah, what they need.
Yeah, they don't know what they need.
They need that.
And that Pomeranian needs a purple mohawk, and that's all we're saying.
Yeah, so I'm telling you what, let roses burn. If you don't do that next time,
send pics or it didn't happen.
Yeah, come on now.
Marcus says, would you be interested in taking my male T-negative albino red blood python?
T-negative albino. Yes, actually, because I've got
another one.
A female. What did he say? A male?
Yeah.
So is ours a male?
Yeah,
or
it's a male. I think
Champ,
right? I mean, hey, listen.
But I think
I never sexed it.
I think Champ was a girl, actually. Believe it or not.
Let's tickle her
but maybe
a
I could
bit.
be. But yeah, reach out to us, man. I love blood pythons, and hopefully it's a chill one. Champ was supposed to be chill, and it bit Bruce in the face. And once an animal bites, we just can't pull it out. You know what I mean?
It's just that simple.
It's just, there's just a one strike deal. You know what I mean? Like we can't have a 8-year-old girl, get bit in the face by a blood python. So we can't take any chances.
Truly 1676.
But please reach out.
Says, hi, Mr. Barczyk. Hi, Mr. Barczyk.
Hi.
Could you please talk about glass lizards? Legless lizards? ? Do you plan on attempting to keep a pair at 3.0? They're so fascinating.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do plan on keeping them at 3.0. I've been talking about it for quite some time.
Legless lizards?
Yeah, legless lizards.
I know you're not. You get a little heebie-jeebies on them.
I get, people may not know this, but I do get a little freaked out by them. So the one reptile that is a little bit like to me.
So the first time I got to see one interactively was at Phoenix Herp Society.
Yeah, and
right?
they twist around.
The twisted got me, dude. Because they called it rotisserie. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, this name was rotisserie.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's a weird animal that moves very. It's much like why spiders were weird to me in the beginning was that I couldn't read what they were thinking. I'm very like fluid with lizards and snakes and I can always like
got the movement.
Yeah, I understand like where they're moving before they even move because I'm just so used to them. With the legless lizards, they're just so foreign and so good. They're alien-like,
Yeah.
And that's why I think I'm a little freaked out with them. That being said, I definitely want to add one because I think it's a great educational tool. The difference between the evolution between lizards and snakes.
And so how a legless lizard isn't a snake. Like, why?
Right. And we can talk about that, how like, look at, 2/3 of his body is a tail, not body, whereas a snake,
just a tenth of the
very
body.
little bit is the tail. And you can talk about the eyelids, and you can talk about, there's so many interesting educational things that we can talk about with legless lizards. So I'm absolutely looking forward to adding to the Reptarium. And I think that when we do, I think I'll fall in love with them. And I think that I'll probably really, really enjoy working with them. But for now, they're a little freaky to me.
Tony Stark. Wait,
Tony.
Tony Stark, man? Get the hell out of here, man. I'm a big fan.
Actually, truth is, you might be able to help me with the atrium. If you got a pretty bankroll up there, Tony.
We appreciate it, Mr. Stark.
If you could sell just a couple more missiles.
Yeah, we
need about 100,000 for the atrium glass. You got me?
He says, hey, Brian, long story short, I had a phobia of snakes, but your videos helped me overcome that fear. I now own a Cali King and want to say thank you.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I love hearing that. I had
favorite stories.
I had my Baltimore people that are upstairs right now. She was phobic of snakes, and as a matter of fact, today held her first snake.
She did do it.
So she held Perdita. She heard Perdita.
I knew she would.
She held Snaz. She held a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm sure tonight she's been holding all kinds of stuff. So she drove 10 hours to hold her first snake, and those are the stories that keep me inspired for sure.
Alex Rogers says, hey, Brian, I just lost my first snake the other day. We think his intestines were twisted inside him because he couldn't pass his stool. And when I soaked him, blood was coming out. Wow. Sucks, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude.
Sorry, brother. That's the worst.
It does suck, man. And losing animals are always difficult. And, but what I always tell people is that, if you're keeping an animal long enough or enough of animals, you're going to have losses. I mean, it's going to happen. And anyone that, I think that it's kind of like the hidden thing that people don't want to talk about. You know what I mean? And
it is so true because it makes because people think like, oh yeah, he didn't take care of his animals. That has nothing to do with it.
Well, yeah, there was literally,
baby.
I told you there was a video out with. I didn't watch it. I could care less about what it had to say, but its title was literally, did Brian Barczyk call? It was like something, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
It was like, did Brian Barczyk, was it Brian Barczyk's fault that Taz died?
Yeah.
That was like the video title.
And it's like, dude,
and you're just like, Jesus,
an animal died.
Yeah.
Listen, if you haven't seen a dead squirrel on the side of the road, you're crazy, bro.
Yeah, or if you had a childhood dog, I mean, it died.
Or lizard. You never had a lizard and it died as a kid?
It's just gonna happen. It's like, of course it isn't my fault. There was nothing I did that. And I don't
came in every day, start kicking the lizard around. Like, what?
And for all I know, that video could have defended me the whole time. Like, he did everything he could. It wasn't his fault. I don't know. It was a clickbait title, you know what I mean? Using my name, like as always, to try to get people to click on the things, and it worked because his videos usually got hardly any views, and that one had a few thousand views, and I didn't watch it. I didn't want to watch it. I don't support people that use my name to try to get views,
especially in a negative
and
way.
It certainly sounded negative, like it's my fault, But anyways,
Kathleen says, I'm fighting to follow my animal passions and dreams like you, but keep hitting roadblocks and am tempted to give up sometimes. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, don't give up. Here's my advice.
Yeah,
I mean, if I counted the times I wanted to give up on this journey, you'd be shocked. I mean, roadblocks are going to happen in anything you want to do in life. There's a couple things, I mean, try not to force things in directions that there's too many roadblocks, because maybe that's the universe telling you something. But at the same time, there's always a direction that you can go, and you never. I love this saying that says you never know how close you were to success when you quit. Right?
So true.
And so don't quit.
Could have been the next person you talk to.
Yeah, and you just keep going. If you're really, truly passionate, you will make it work.
100%.
You will make it work. I guarantee you. You have to stay passionate. You have to be driven. And if you are that, you will succeed, but you can't give up. You can't. It's just not an option.
I heard a great thing from Jim Carrey the other night, and it was talking about...
That's interesting.
Yeah, I know, right? Crazy. Yeah. He said how his father, wanted to be a comedian really bad, but didn't think it could ever be possible. So he got a cushy job. And, when Jim Carrey was 9, his father was fired from that job.
Wow.
And had to fight to survive, fight to have food on the table. And what he says, my father taught me many things, but, one of the main things was you could fail at doing what you don't want to do.
Right.
So you might as well do what you love.
That's a good thing. And interesting enough, Jim Carrey's a really interesting person.
He's one of the most, yeah.
He's very interesting. And by the way, he's a very heavy anxiety sufferer.
Huge, dude. Maybe
he's
one of the worst.
He's
bro.
had unbelievable bouts with anxiety. I mean, he had about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. If you ever saw did you see any of the interviews with him when he had the long gray beard?
Yep.
He was like out of his fucking mind.
Yes, he was.
I mean, like literally, like there'd be an interview, like a movie. He's in a movie, and there'd be an interview. He goes, "It doesn't matter because I'm not even real.
Yeah.
You're not real. The world doesn't matter. We're not even here."
He's so
right.
right.
And he was like all over the place, and people were just like, "I just want to hear about your movie, man." And you're like this crazy like philosophy. He seems to normalize himself a lot more lately. I think he went through, and maybe that's kind of a similar thing, because I read a part of a book that he had written about his anxiety, the chapters about his anxiety when he was younger, and it was like he suffered as bad as I did with anxiety, and then got much better for a number of years. And I think that he fell off a couple years ago again, and much like I did after 18 years of almost no anxiety, all of a sudden became an anxious wreck. And I'm hoping that now I'm getting closer and closer to having that behind me. Still working very hard on it. I mean, I literally meditated, 30 minutes before we came on the air, just to kind of calm my mind a little bit, but Jim Carrey's an interesting guy, and he was always an inspiration. I was a little bit like taken aback when he fell off so bad a couple years ago, because I was like, oh, wait a second. Whoa, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this guy that I thought made it past it. So, but now he seems to be back on track, which is good.
Jerry says, how's the sunset ball python from Cusco doing? Any specific combos thinking of throwing it at it when it's ready to breed?
I'm not sure. We just looked at it today, actually, ironically enough.
What Lori would do with that, too. It might be interesting.
I don't know yet, to be honest with you. It's a male.
Now, how does it interact with other things, right? Like when you put it with something like a pastel or fire, does it get really bright and colorful? And when you put it with, like, what happens when you put it with darker morphs? Have you seen?
Well, the one we have is a cine.
Right.
It's a cine, so you kind of see what it does with the darker morphs. I mean, it does react. I mean, I really like the banana sunset stuff. I really think the albino sunset stuff is going to be really spectacular. I think, and Miguel has some possibility of actually producing an albino sunset this year for the first time, and I think that's going to be something really special, because I think the oranges. So you got to remember, so sunset is analogous to blood red boa,
right,
or blood boa. Same thing, same mutation, just in two different species.
Of
course. So if you look up real quick on, I think it's called like a dragon boa or something like that. Like just go dragon boa.
About this.
Yeah, and then go to images.
Boat.
No, not boat.
They put it
there
in myself. My bad. These ones, right?
Exactly. Well, that's a normal blood red, but
okay.
I would say up on right there. There you go. So that's a dragon. That's a blood red albino. I think that's similar to what you're going to see with the sunset.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, it's going to be pretty spectacular.
Mark says, finally caught it live. How's it going, Brian?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you?
He's doing great, he says.
Good. All right, good.
He's live. He's watching live. He's happy as hell.
You're live. If you weren't alive, you wouldn't be watching, Mark.
Of course you're live. Of course you're alive. You've been alive this whole time.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Live life to the fullest, Mark.
Spinosaurus in the house.
Oh.
He wants to know if Jurassic Park might become a reality. But I think that's like kind of he might be a mole.
Yeah, are you?
You know what I'm saying? Like he seems like he's playing both sides of the field.
I wonder if he's actually the Spinosaurus going, hey, by the way,
remember me from Gatorland?
They gave you the phone.
Yeah,
they gave you the phone out there in the paddock.
Yeah.
No, I think that I seriously think we are going to resurrect dinosaurs in the future. I think that we're very close to the technology to do it, and I think that the ethics behind it will be. Someone's going to do it. Well, maybe America won't. Maybe they're like, no, it's not going. But someone in China or North Korea or somewhere, somewhere they're going to do it. I think that it's going to happen. I think the first dinosaur-ish animal is going to be the woolly mammoth, right? That's coming up soon. I mean,
maybe tomorrow.
I mean, maybe already happened. They've said within the next 2 years they'll have the technology to resurrect the woolly mammoth,
and that means they'll have the technology because mammals, right, to be honest, are the most complicated.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's not going to take long to be able to bring back a T-Rex.
Yeah. It's just will we?
Yeah, will we? And is it ethically? I don't know.
I guess if it's up to Spinosaurus, we're doing it.
Yeah, if it's up to Spinosaurus, it's going to happen. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Listen. I hope I'm around when it happens because if that's a theme park, I'm fucking there.
Yeah, and if that's the way the world ends, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's fucking do it.
If
dude.
we just want to let them all loose and let them just let's go.
They were here
I'm
first
in.
anyway.
I'm in. Let's go back to that area. Let's go back to the Jurassic.
Let's go back
area.
to Jurassic.
Yeah, actually, I think it was even before Jurassic that the real good stuff. Yeah, Cretaceous. Yeah.
Simple Man says, I reminded Noah on last night's podcast, but don't forget to watch the Croc Ganglands documentary when you get some time. I hope both of you have a great night.
Yeah, thank you so much, dude. Seriously,
Savannah was talking about that.
Yeah, we're talking about it. Yeah.
Jade says, what's your favorite python and why? Ripped has stay strong.
Jade, it's like my daughter's
That's
name.
my daughter's name.
My daughter's
my
name.
daughter's name.
My daughter's, not lower daughter's. Favorite python, huh? I don't know. Gosh, I like so many.
Yeah, that's a really hard question.
That's like a tough one, you know. Again,
because like I'm like bones, but then I'm also like, but green trees, and then like
and then there's Olin Pellies, and there's Roughies, and there's I mean
there's so many.
There's King Horn. I mean there's just a gazillion of them. I love them.
Whatever
all.
one he's holding.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone, all of them.
Pat says anything can cause blindness. That's separate from them having feline leukemia. They are located in St. Paul's, North Carolina. You should try looking them up.
I was just in North Carolina.
Get the hell out of here, man.
I was just
I would
there.
have been there tickling them kittens.
Where I go play some time with the kitties. No, that's cool. No, I will look them up seriously.
For sure.
And maybe we'll donate something to them because I appreciate that cause.
This is interesting. Rest in peace, Tupac and Kobe. And I agree with you, man.
I mean,
fuck yeah.
He ain't wrong.
He ain't wrong. And Biggie. What about Biggie, man?
Yeah, I mean,
Yo,
although,
Biggie.
we all know that Tupac is still around, right?
He's in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I mean,
I seen him on TikTok.
I mean, Kobe, I think didn't make it, but
yeah.
But Tupac,
Tupac's been around.
Come on, man, he's hanging. You know that he's more prolific now that he's dead than he was when he was alive. I mean, he's put out more music and more videos.
He's been dropping. He just dropped his thing on SoundCloud the other day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, he's
new
got
album, bro.
His own sneaker line coming out. I mean,
he's making album covers for people. It's crazy.
He was a pretty inspirational guy, though.
One of my favorite rappers ever.
Yeah, he was really. It's a shame that community can be so violent.
Yeah, especially because I talked about this with Maria because she wasn't into rap growing up, but I was. But so young and being so young, intelligent and so like you said, like prolific and
he
and
was
poetic at his age. I mean, 23 years old roughly, and talking about politics and socioeconomical thing. It's beautiful, man.
No, he was quite the. If he would have lived a long time, he would have made a lot of difference. He did make a lot of difference in a lot of people's life, but
that song changes, gets me every time.
Man. Yeah, rest in peace, man.
High Class Python says, "Congrats, Brian. You're my idol. I'm in my first season of breeding. Just got my first rack. Do you have breeder females for sale? And should does this say should get owls would look great? Oh, you should get owls.
Get some owls.
I wish. Well, I fucking
first
wish.
off, thank you so much. Second of all, good luck with your breeding season. Third, I do not have any females available now. Might, possibly, could, maybe. Stay in touch.
Fourth, good luck with us getting owls.
But owls. I could go for an eagle owl. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. An eagle owl would be pretty dope. Just probably doesn't fit into this building.
Yeah, once we get the third story and it's an aviary, then we're good.
Once we build the aviary out back, that would be dope, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Who knows? 6.0, baby.
6.0 is coming, baby.
Julian says, hey, Brian, it's Julie.
Hi, Julie.
And, Julie Ann from the UK.
Oh,
Can you please say hi? I've watched your video since the beginning. Can you film more BHB content?
I'll try to.
It's coming up, baby.
Yeah, there'll be more content for BHB. By the way, hi, Julianne. Do you know my first girlfriend was named Julie?
Oh my God, no way.
And her last name started with an A. So, Julie, is that you?
Is that you, baby girl? Missed you.
She was splendid.
I think about you all the time.
She was splendid. I think I'm not gonna say.
Don't do it.
I could say some bad. I could do a Noah right now.
Don't do it.
But I'm not gonna do it.
Don't do it. You're not Noah.
I'm not Noah.
Julian says, just love the $1. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. And Shane Lee says, congrats on 3 million. Road to 4.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's thank you. And for, actually, we only are 996,000 away. We're not 996,000 away, right? Yeah. Because we're at 4,000. So we're at 3,000,004. Yeah.
There we go, baby.
So
we're almost there.
We're almost there. We're getting.
Be there in no time.
Yep.
Aaron says, good day.
Good day, mate.
I love working and listening to the podcast. I'm also a dog groomer and love doing fun stuff like mohawks and dye. Also did 10 dogs today.
Whoa!
Oh my God! Are you guys work at the same place?
Yeah, you guys are. You better do 11 to go get one more than let roses burn. You don't want her to win. It's a competition, and I'm glad that if I was a dog groomer, I've seen some of these like crazy shows where they like do crazy stuff, like crazy haircuts and dyes, and I think that's cool as shit.
Hell
man.
yeah!
If I had a dog that I could do that with, I would totally have that dog just pimped out. Like rainbow. I want that thing to look like a rainbow.
Like a little bowl of Skittles walked into the room.
Gay pride every day.
Yeah, dude, that's me, baby. We out here.
That's it.
Reptile Guy says, "Hey, Brian, you should put some amphibians in the Reptarium, like fire and tiger salamanders. Recommend humidity for Hog Island boas. What is the recommended humidity?"
So probably 50-60% for Hog Islands, and we're going to definitely do more amphibians. No doubt about it.
Those ones we've seen at
the tiger salamanders,
were so sick.
Ambostoma triangulum. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, gazoon type.
Yes.
Jade says, "What happened to the Ouroboros snake? Please update."
I updated it
the day after.
3 years. Three. Yeah, the day. It passed away right away, and it's funny that all these years later, people still ask me about the update on that, even though I updated it immediately when it happened. But you missed it. It's just completely fine. It just obviously had some neurological issue. It ate itself. It died. It just it was messed up.
If you ate yourself, you'd probably be dead too.
I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why a snake does that. It does happen.
Dude, it could literally just be like that 1 in a trillion odds.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is if you literally Google it, you'll see a ton of them, and it's not like that's the only time it's
a
ever
word.
Happened. Yeah,
how about that? It's a friggin' word.
It's a word, Ouroboros. But yeah, it was a weird thing. I mean, it's the first time I've had it happen personally. But it was definitely weird to do. But yeah, unfortunately, it was messed up. It didn't make it.
Mark says, "I build reptile enclosures and desperately need a in with Universal Rock. LOL, love your setups."
Man, I tell you what. So the problem with Universal Rocks is twofold. Number one, they don't need you. I mean, I don't want to be rude.
No, I know what you're saying.
That's what it is. Like, they have 1,000 of you that want them to work with. You know what I mean? They'll sell you material all you want, but
you could do whatever you want with it. Yeah.
But they're not going to help you. And the biggest problem with Universal Rock, and I love those guys. I will always pimp them. I think they're amazing. They are expensive. So that's going back to earlier on when someone said, "Oh, we're going to start selling the cages," and I said, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. That was the problem, is that it's really expensive. So to sell a cage, you have to sell it for a lot of money, and there's very little profit because the actual material costs so much. I mean, this room here is Universal Rock panels. This would be about $5,000 in panels.
Just crazy.
Just these panels, not to even put in. I put them in. Just to buy them, it'd be about $5,000. So that gives you an idea. So
cut that into a bunch of backdrops. How many can you really make, and how much you have to sell each one?
Yeah, I mean, a small backdrop, like for a skyscraper, which is what like the 18 by 18 by 36 inch tall.
20 of those.
Well, right, but to buy one of those from Universal Rocks is about $100.
Yep.
Just for the backdrop is about $100 retail. So, so that's the problem. It's difficult.
But work hard, man. I'm sure you'll find some way to do your passion.
But I just know that, and right now they're really swamped. And Stuart is kind of went in a different direction a little bit, where he doesn't want to sell little pieces. He wants to sell big, like hot tubs and big jobs, because he says he doesn't make enough money on the small jobs, so he's passing those. He's passing up all that type of stuff, and the quantity that guys like me can sell, you just don't make sense to him. So
Doc Holiday says, "I just bought a Cayman lizard from Underground Reptiles. Any advice?"
Make sure you got a lot of water. They're a primarily aquatic animal. Most people don't set them up aquatic, and they live in the water. I mean, Mango spends 99% of his life in the water. Yep. We give him lots of land and lots of basking spots. Hardly ever comes out of the water. So really cool animals. Other than that, vary their diets. They will eat snails, but you can also feed them cat food. You can feed them, super worms, all kinds of stuff. But vary the diet as much as you can. They're really, really cool. You'll like them a lot.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Pat came back and says, "Unfortunately, the sanctuary is closed because because of the virus, the cats can catch the virus.
Oh,
So I guess it's viral leukemia.
Yeah,
I know
gotcha.
cats get a lot of
Yeah,
weird
that's-
stuff like that.
That's
So.
that's not good. That's
No, it's a shame.
that's the worst, man. I feel so bad for anyone because I'm sure the people that run that sanctuary love those animals.
Oh
so
my
much,
God,
and,
you couldn't
and
imagine,
for that
yeah.
to happen has to be heartbreaking. So
Little-
thoughts out.
Oh, sorry. Little Bogus says, sorry I'm late, but I got my first vaccine. Sending love.
Oh my
Congrats.
gosh, Little
She's
Bogus.
a teacher.
So first off, you don't have to super chat this. Hit this in the chat sometime. Tell me which one you got and if you've had any side effects. Congratulations. I hope that I'll be there. So there's a chance, albeit very small, I might be able to get one next week, possibly.
That'd be so sick.
I hope. Fingers crossed.
Maria says, I believe in you. Just feel like you are going to end up with a diamond play button. I don't know if it will be on here, the main vlog, or Snake Bites channel. Brian for 10 mil.
Yeah, I mean, that's, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I believe it can happen. I absolutely do believe it can happen. And I'll continue to strive for that. That is the big one, right? You know, gosh, 10 mil, that would be amazing. That would be something else. Yeah. I mean, I think that quite frankly, like you said, I think there's going to be a handful of changes that happen before I hit that goal.
Oh, for sure.
Where that ends up, I don't know, but I won't stop. That's a goal. I mean, absolutely, it's a goal. I mean, it's a bummer that YouTube doesn't give a 3 or 4 or 5 million plaque out.
I
They
know.
only
At
give
least
a
a
million.
5 should be.
Yeah, 5 is probably where they should go.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, 10 is the
Make
next
like a
one, so-
titanium play button or something.
Yeah.
Like a dark black, gray color.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So 10 is the next, and then after that, then you're really boned because then it's 100 million. I mean, my gosh, from 10 to 100, so that's
Unreal.
That's and there's not. I think there's only 2 people that have ever two
channels
channels that have ever hit 100 mil.
Shauna says, any recommendations for reptile racks, blood, and ball pythons? Also, having my first ever ball python clutch in the next week or so. Congrats, dude.
Congrats. I really hope it goes well. Keep us posted on that. I think, obviously ARS and Freedom Breeder are the
Main
standard,
ones.
that
Your Canon and
yeah.
Nikon.
Yeah, I mean they're great. Either one, is fantastic. I think that, some people like Freedom Breeder better. Some people like ARS better. I think ARS is a little bit cheaper as far as cost goes. But most of the big guys really like Freedom Breeder. So yeah, I think either one of those, look into those and you'll be good.
Amber says, working till 11, taking care of my elderly people. So
All right.
we'll miss the podcast, but just wanted to drop in to show some love.
Well, thank you so much. And
love you.
your job is very important. I've got a mom that's in a senior center, so you people are doing God's work.
Heroes, man. And that's it, Bright Guy.
Holy shamoly.
They
What
crushed
did you
it,
guys
baby.
do? You guys killed me tonight. You're awesome. Wow, it went really long. So listen, that was a long podcast. Thank you
It was
guys
good,
so
though.
much. You guys are amazing. I appreciate all your support. Like I said, Reptile Army, you guys are absolutely the best. Love you guys.
We
so,
love you, baby.
So listen, I'm going to see you guys on Wednesday and checking in and back here next Saturday, and we'll have a great time. You guys have a wonderful night. Love you so much. I will see you soon, guys.
It was good.
That one went long.
Yeah, it was good, though. Crush that shit.